Welcome back to the Stateside podcast. How's it going, Alan?
Not too bad. How are you?
Doing good. My name is James for those who are first-time listeners, and your name is Alan.
My name is Alan.
And we are the Stateside podcast. We are dialing the room more. It's looking good, and I am so fucking stoked. I mean, look how good this looks, man.
It's not bad. Yeah, it's definitely getting there.
Yeah, that wall to the left, I'm really excited about.
Yeah, that's going to be sick. It'll just be a nice, like, accent wall, I guess.
Yeah. I think for in-studio guests, it's going to be a real doozy. It's going to be nice.
And there's just nothing more. I like that, I don't know, just that, like, scummy, like, Portland venue, you know, posters all over the wall. Like,
totally.
It's just comforting to me.
Yeah, it is for me, too. I have very, like, fond memories of being young on the road, you know, going into scummy bathrooms and venues.
Exactly.
Seeing all the stickers and all the posters, all the flyers. It's kind of a weird, like, home feeling for me in a strange way.
I know. I always loved Satyricon.
Oh,
that
yeah,
was,
totally.
That was the only venue that's gone away where I was just like, fuck. I didn't care about any other, you know, all the other venues that have come and gone.
I was really bummed when the Paris Theater went away, but now that's back.
Yeah.
So that's super cool.
I mean, and it went away and came back like 35 times. So it's it's not even.
Well, it was like a porn joint, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Like a jack-off theater?
I think way early on, before it was the Paris Theater the first time, it was called like the Starry Night or some shit. Like our parents probably went there when it was called that.
That is so funny.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, nothing lasts forever, man.
Not at all.
They're always changing. What's your favorite Portland venue?
Man. Probably right now, Doug Fir.
Wow. Yeah.
I think that's where, you know, not every, you know, band or artist I can think of would make sense there, but just off the top of my head, I think, yeah, if I could match some artist that I'm into right now with a venue, like pick a venue to see them in, it'd probably be that one.
Nice. I've always liked the Roseland, not for like aesthetics or anything. I just think it's like the best. It's one of the better, just straight up venues.
Yeah.
My all-time favorite is La Luna, which might be a little bit before your time.
Yeah, where was that?
La Luna turned into, oh God, maybe it turned into the old Meow Meow? Remember that place?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's the same city block.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, my buddies would like Stefan and Josh, they would know.
Was that it? Did it have anything to do? Was it upstairs? Like, what is? I don't even know if Rotour is a thing anymore, but that was the upstairs of.
Oh, maybe it is that block.
Of Loveland, which used to be Meow Meow. I think I don't know.
I don't know. They all just kind of blend in together. I know La Luna was downstairs.
Oh, okay.
It was like a first level, but it was just so basic. You know, just a square, stage, middle, boom, done.
Yeah.
And we just saw so many great shows there. The best show of all time for me and most of the people I know was Deftones headlining. This was 1999, I think.
Jeez.
Way back in the day. Deftones headlining, Quicksand in the middle, and then Snapcase opening.
Damn.
And so that was like around the Fur tour.
Yeah, that's...
When like Deftones were just on fire.
Yeah, that one would be sweet to catch.
Yeah, man, it officially made me a man. You know, I walked into that venue as a boy, and I came out a man.
I don't know what show was that for me. I don't know what the equivalent would have been.
The one before that for me, when I was really young, would be Foo Fighters on the first Foo Fighters tour.
Oh, okay.
When they were still like a heavy rock band. So Dave Grohl it was like 2 years after Nirvana.
Yeah.
Or something like that, you know. I was in like 7th grade or something.
I remember seeing Korn at Rockfest, but I can't remember if that was... Either that was my first show...
When they were like legitimately good and interesting and dangerous.
Yeah, they were... Yep. They were fucking huge. I think it was Korn and Disturbed headlined Rockfest that year. And then it was either that or Headbangers Ball 2
Oh, yeah,
tour.
I remember those.
And that, I think Headbangers was after. It would make sense, just time-wise. But That was Lamb of God headlining, and then Kill Switch was direct support, and I think God Forbid opened or played like 2 of 4. I can't remember, but that was at the Aladdin Theater. That was a sick show.
Yeah, we should talk more about the bands you like, because I'm not entirely sure like what your favorite kind of genre is. I mean, I don't really have one either. I wouldn't expect you to, but like what your thing is. You like heavier music, right?
I don't know. I think
Maybe.
that early on that was heavier music definitely defined me as a musician early on, but it's almost as if I went so hard with not only like being in a metal band, but like being into metal bands. And then from there,
Right.
like, okay, how does my band get signed and like what metal labels matter? And, because I was a huge Slipknot fan, I was a huge fan of Roadrunner Records. So I always wanted us to get signed there. And then loved As I Lay Dying. So then we kind of set our sights on Metal Blade. Always thought that would be cool, but I loved a bunch of bands on Century Media, and we ended up getting signed to Metal Blade. And then, we toured for quite a while, and you just, I don't know, just play, like, especially as a drummer, metal drums makes drums a different instrument.
Yeah.
And then after that, you get into just more rock, or like there's some gospel drummers out there that like Tony Royster and Thomas Pridgeon, just
totally
fucking animals. And you're like, the drums sound different when they
Pridgeon
play.
played with Mars Volta for a hot minute.
Yeah, he did. I was so pumped on that. I was like,
I think he's a rad drummer, but that kind of like where he's just always doing a fill thing, it's really exhausting.
Well, that is the downside of gospel drumming too, is that it's incredibly showy and it's very impressive, but yeah, you give me, I'll take Chad Smith from Red Hot Chili Peppers any day, just doing a fucking
any day.
I watched him to this day. My favorite like drum clinic or like solo, whatever, you'd have to look it up on YouTube. It is fucking fantastic, where it's just the most thug thing I've ever seen, where everybody wants to sit behind their kit and be fucking insane and get the double kick going. And, that's like what the crowd wants to see, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Chad Smith, it was like a either modern drummer festival or a Guitar Center drum off thing. He just, for, I don't know, 7 minutes, he just does the same 4/4 groove. And he'll play it a little quieter, then he'll play it with a little more passion, and then he'll slightly speed it up, slightly slow it down, but that's all he did was one beat. And then he gets off his drum throne and he goes up to the mic and he's like, so for some of you that was really boring, but then for the true drummers out there, you understand that that's very important, that you can stay in the pocket, you can stay in a space and just do your thing. And then he just walked off. And anybody that knows Chad Smith knows he can go full retard. If he wants to just have hands of lightning, he can do that. But he didn't feel like he had to. And I think that that's a huge pressure that a lot of drummers feel, especially the ones that come from the heavier background, is like, dude, you better get those feet blasting. You better have the fastest blast beats, or, sickest breakdowns, whatever. But as I get older, I just want to see feeling. I want to see your left hand like digging into the snare every hit, and I really tasteful cymbal work, and you start to get into like the finer details, like anything that you do in your life. As you hit that like 10-15 year mark, you start to be really into all those little pieces in between the big showy things that you put so much focus on for a majority of the time you were interested in that.
Yeah, absolutely.
In that thing.
No, I couldn't agree more. I mean, those are all my favorite drummers. It's my favorite way to play drums. Like actually being a songwriter and serving the song first. Because I'm actually not all that into like drumming. Like I love drumming, but I don't really like playing drums by myself. I never have.
Right.
It's not all that fun for me. I don't like really watching drummers by themselves. I mean, I probably do more than the average person. Now, we come from different backgrounds. So I like watching someone drum by themselves more than my sister does, who knows nothing about that.
Right. Yeah, that's a good point.
But for a drummer, I probably, like it on the lower end of things, I'd say. I don't know. I like the band. I like a band. I like songs. I like songwriting. I like when drummers can fit in interesting, tasteful fills, beats, and like you said, the vibe and the feel. That's why Abe Cunningham from Deftones is one of my all-time favorites.
Yeah, that's a fantastic example.
He's
He's up there for me too.
Yeah, he's the vibe master, dude. The beat master.
Well, he's also that guy that, you know, to your point with the gospel drumming, it's hard if somebody goes, "Hey, what's your favorite Thomas Pridgeon fill?" I'd be like, "I have no fucking idea. That's all he does is fills." But then if you said, "What's your favorite
exactly.
What's your favorite Abe Cunningham fill?" I have 3 or 4 in mind right now.
Tasteful little licks that
are fucking fantastic. And that to me is a special thing where you can love a drummer and be like, "Oh, he's so great just all around." But then there's some drummers where just their fills are the shit. And you know, as a drummer, it takes time to think of those. Because we all have like our fallback fills, the ones that like, oh, I'm comfortable here, so I'll just do a variation of these on this song and I'll kind of, but to like sit and go, for the fill specifically, what do I want to do here? How do I want to like push the boundary a little bit?
Yeah, and to almost think of it like something that clicked for me in my drumming was when I started to think of doing fills or even beats too, like just playing to a song, to think of it as a riff, as a hook, more specifically.
Yeah.
The way that like a catchy sounding riff from a guitar player comes across and feels something that's catchy and you're like, oh, that's memorable. Drumming should be no different, right? I mean, like, so Dave Grohl was the king at that. Like, what's a good example? Like In Bloom. Oh,
right. Yeah.
It's just so memorable.
And that's not a thing that you see much anymore. Like when a fill or a part of the drumming pattern is so like you can't not do it when you're humming the song.
That's why these bands like what's that fucking band Crummett produced? Issues. That band Issues. Look, they're super nice guys. They're professional as fuck. Apparently, they're really great to work with, but they're really not my cup of tea. And especially that kind of drumming, he's amazing. That guy is unbelievable.
Yeah, Josh is the shit.
Josh is the shit. And I think he's doing exactly what he should be doing for that band, right? I mean, so to his credit, he's doing the job he was hired for, as it were. But that kind of drumming is not the same kind of like, it's not going to hook me in the same way.
I totally agree. Yeah.
I appreciate it as a musician, and there are some songs that I actually like from Issues. I mean, they're clearly rad. But anyway, I'm going off on tangent. But yeah, I just feel like that type of thing is very popular today with like the very jittery, like palm muty metal thing, like it's just all choppy, and so these drummers have to be, badass like session guys now. They can't just lay and sit in the pocket and hit really hard.
Yeah, I mean, I love what you said about just not liking drumming that much, because I love drums obviously, but I think that there's different, like with anything, there's different types of drummers, and
right.
There's this dude that I think is one of the best drummers today, Travis Orban, who I think I'm saying his name correctly. I have a little bit of podcast brain right now, but I'm pretty sure it's Travis Orban.
That name sounds really familiar. I'm gonna look him up.
I became aware of him when he was in Sky Eats Airplane, and he's like, he can read, he like reads and writes music, and so there's a lot of videos of him like looking at sheet music. Yeah, okay. Travis Orban nailed it. And that's, I mean, that right there, I never learned how to do it. I'm never going to be that kind of drummer. And he's fantastic. I love watching him, but I have no desire to be that sort of a drummer. I'm a Chad Smith all fucking day.
Exactly.
Like I like to go caveman with it. Like what is a, just give me groove. I just want groove all day. And Travis can groove, but it's just, he's on a different level, a much higher level than me, and I'm okay with that.
But before I say, did you ever listen to the old episodes where Neil and I were still doing it? We did, maybe it was just me and Andrew.
You guys did the
favorite drummer with Josh Northcutt.
Completely forgot about that.
That was a really fun episode. And now that you're on the show, because for those who aren't picking up on this, Alan is a really good drummer himself. So now we have 2 drummers that host the show, and we could have Josh come over here, who's a fucking like encyclopedia with this stuff.
Also,
so we
yeah,
could do our
Josh
top
is
5 favorite drummers.
and Josh is like I feel like he lives similar to Stefan and you and Crummett. You guys are from like a different world, kind of like you and I were talking about failure earlier.
Exactly.
I'm aware of them, but I don't.
You didn't grow up with them the way we
And
did, right?
you guys, all of you like Hillsborough dudes,
Yep.
you will bring up bands like that, and I'm like, I don't know, and then I'll go and listen, and be like, oh yeah, this is the shit.
Right.
And that's why I had a really fucking awesome moment with Crummett one time where I just independently found this band that I was slowly becoming obsessed with, and then I go to Kelly's Olympian to see them. Still, top 3 best show I've ever seen in my fucking life. It was the band Black Map. And they're
fucking great band, dude.
and their drummer
Dude,
used to
super
be
cool band.
I can't even tell you fucking what band he used to be in, but Crummett would be screaming at me. Far. Yeah, see, I almost
I'm
said
about
Flaw,
to fucking
and
flip
that
this
is
table right now.
Yeah, so Far, I'm not aware of them at all.
Right.
But Crummett, like 50% of the reason he's there is he's like, oh, dude, that fuck. I think his name's Chris Robin is the drummer.
You are absolutely right. Plays open-handed.
Yeah, and he's the shit. And I stood 6 fucking feet away from
He's
him.
an absolute beast, right?
Yeah, and I'm like air drumming the fills while locking eyes with him like a complete fucking lunatic. And Crummett just comes up to me and we were just vibing on this band, and it was the first time where I was like, hey, we're on the same page. Like,
Yeah,
I've kind of
finally crossed that
but at the
threshold.
same time, we're not on the same page because you respect him for his previous projects, which I'm completely unaware of.
Dude, all that stuff is relative. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
true.
When I was hanging out with the dudes from Shiner, who's another one of those bands, by the way, a Hillsborough band of my friends. And Stefan and I were like 16 years old touring with these guys, playing with Shiner and Hum and like Super Drag. And, you know, at the time, because I was like 16 and they were in their late 20s.
Oh,
so
wow.
they had a whole different, you know, they're talking like Fugazi and like fucking Ministry and Slayer, you know, like bands from the 80s and 90s.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I don't know. But they fucking got so mad, you know, so I had to go do my homework. And then I came back and like, okay, I know Slayer now.
Yeah.
What I was going to say. So something that I think I noticed this about myself a while ago when I was still playing in bands pretty heavily. I finally admitted to myself, okay, so there is a part of me that likes being part of the drummers club, right? Like, I think we are a type of person, we're a type of mind, and I like that. Like, I like that drumming is physical, you know, the drummer calluses, and I like all the dorky stuff you can nerd out about being a drummer. I love all that. But I am not just loyal to being a drummer. I don't just identify with being a drummer. I am more interested in being a songwriter and a musician. So if that means that getting to making a good drum track or a drum fill is me picking up the guitar and writing a riff, then I'm going to do that. And that's what I finally figured out. And my favorite band that I was ever in was the Days and Nights. And that was because we did that. Like me and Nate especially would do that. Like he would sit down and play drums terribly, and I would pick up his guitar and play guitar terribly. But we would do this weird thing where like I would just hear something in my head and I would try to do it, and it would get like all of those songs. Her Name Is Al, like Green Light, all that stuff was me just going like like an idiot, like a fucking moron. And he would try to drum to it like a monkey. And it was terrible. But then we finally go, okay, we got that. So now let's finally switch. And then he would take it and turn it into something rad. And then I would take what he came up with and turn it into something rad.
I mean, that's a fantastic way to do it.
Because it like takes that overthinking thing away.
Yes.
Right? So he would try to do the stuff that he sees people do. And like, you know what I mean?
I was
like,
literally just, this is like the most relevant thing you could bring up because I was at practice maybe a couple weeks ago, and the vocalist Vinny, amazing guy, one of my closest friends, he
should have him on the show, by the way.
yeah, we will for sure. He makes a ton of sense. He's from New Jersey and he came out here to work with Truth Drums, and he's just
I would love to talk to him about Truth.
he's more of a fan of drums than I am, like 100%. I don't have he almost has like
the gear part of it.
yeah, like he's almost autistic with it. Like it's just so
Josh is like that.
yeah, he's so into it. And I told him the other day, And it was 100% meant as a compliment, but I understand where he got sort of, I think it was kind of like fake insulted, but I told him, I go, dude, like my technique is better than yours, but your ideas are better than mine. So I love when we're writing and he goes, he'll just be like, Alan, can I sit on the kit, which is his kit? And I'm like, yeah, go ahead. And he'll sit down, and his idea, the execution of it is never, because I'm just a Nazi with timing and with, just technique, and down to like, if my elbow is out 3 degrees more than it should be, like I really center in on digging into the snare and like hitting with purpose and being very deliberate with the way that I play. That's huge to me.
Right.
And Vinny's a little more loosey-goosey with it, but then his ideas are always the shit. Like, he'll be like, well, I was thinking you do like something like this. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to, just like what you were describing with your band, I'll take that idea and I will fucking hammer it into the ground. Like, do it perfectly, but I can't think of that idea in the first place.
Right.
I'm just kind of like throwing a lot of the same weapons, drumming-wise, at this particular riff. And Daniel, who plays guitar, he's just he comes up with sick ideas all the time. And here's what's insane. This will wrap everything up. Vinny, my favorite song that I've ever been a part of is a new one that my current band has worked on. And we have it wrapped up, like it's done. And it'll be a part of like the next record, which we don't have really any plans to record. I think we're loosely talking about summer. But it's
Talk to me when you're ready.
I will, yeah.
I'll hook you up, man.
It's my favorite song I've ever been responsible for, or not even responsible for, but a part of. But it all started with Vinny, of all people, fucking around on the guitar. And he had this idea that just like how he lights me up with...
And he doesn't historically play guitar.
No.
He's a singer, right?
Yep. Yeah. And here's the thing. He wouldn't identify as a singer either. I think he might identify as a drummer before anything else, but he's just that fucking annoying ass jack of all trades that he can sit, and I only say annoying out of jealousy, because he can sit down and he's just fiddling around on guitar, and just like how he lights me up with drums and makes me want to push him off my throne so I can sit down. Now I'm inspired by something he thought of. Same thing with guitar. Daniel was like, whoa, okay, hold up. And he grabs the guitar and he starts building off this, I remember the riff specifically had a tail on it that was the most hooky. It was the sickest shit I've ever heard. And Daniel felt the same way. So Daniel starts building on it, and he's got, 15, 20 years guitar experience, whatever it is. So just like you were saying with drums, he hammered it home, and then we slowly wrote. But I mean, that is not a way, in my experience, that amazing songs are written. It's typically the drummer who's best at drums on this, the guitarist who's best at, but you mix that shit up.
It used to be my experience too. And ever since the days and nights, I'm never going back.
Yeah.
You want to be in a band with me, you better get ready for me to play some fucking guitar with you.
It just shows you there's no one answer, dude.
And it's like...
It's all about the personalities involved in the project.
Yeah. And I think it's also really fun for other people to do that model, because it's really fun to pretend to be something you're not. So if you're not a good drummer, but you always wanted to try drumming, well, now you get to do it at band practice. No one's going to make fun of you. And but see, that's the key, is you have to have a conversation. You have to say like, look, this is going to sound terrible for a second. Like, that's the key.
Yeah.
That's the key.
And that's fine.
And the magic thing that you just described is great, but it's not always going to happen.
Exactly.
If you do what I'm talking about.
Yeah. And that's the purpose of it all, is not, Vinny never sits down and goes, okay, what I'm about to play, I'm going to play perfectly.
Nope.
We could record what I'm about to play.
Right.
He never does that. He's like, okay, I'm just sketching now.
This is literally a sketch of a sketch.
And then I see a sketch and I go, give me that shit. I'm going to scan it, put it into Photoshop.
Exactly.
And clean it up perfectly.
Yeah. Would you say you are a creative drummer, or are you a reactionary drummer? Do you know what I mean by the two?
Maybe.
Like, do you come up with stuff, say, on your own in a way, or are you better at reacting to a guitar riff?
Oh, I see what you're saying. I've always felt like I used to like kind of jokingly tell friends that the most frustrating thing about drums is that you can never, it's not a romantic instrument.
No.
I can
It's
never
so fucking loud.
I can't set up my kit in some girl's front yard and throw pebbles at her window and be like, come to the window, I wrote you a song.
Like,
and
Jesus
just go full Thomas Pridgeon.
You can't do the Peter Gabriel speaker over your head moment.
Yeah, just blast beating for 6 minutes and go, that song's about how much I love you.
No, exactly.
You need an acoustic guitar, you need melody.
You need melody.
And I've accepted that. And I like the lack of responsibility that I get to be reactionary. Give me your riff. How does it make me feel? Okay, it makes me want to fuck shit up.
Right.
So I'm going ride cymbal. I'm going like real southern, open, limited kick. But then there's other times where I'm like, dude, that shit needs a dance beat, or that needs some closed hi-hat.
I've always thought of
shit.
drumming as like composing.
Yeah.
That's kind of what you're doing. You're structuring like when you look at a live audience and everyone's nodding their head, they're nodding their head to you, the drummer.
Yeah.
That's what that is. And so
if they're not nodding your head, you aren't doing your job.
You're not doing your job. So exactly. If you want to, create space and that kind of like you do like a halftime thing.
Yeah.
Like open it up and then, that is how we sort of conduct this fucking song.
Yeah.
I mean, once I kind of figured that out, I felt like I could really drum in a band.
Yeah,
Instead of trying to come up with parts. Like, what does that even mean for drums?
Yeah, I think that it's kind of particular importance that the drummer he or she really needs to pick their spots. And that I've always kind of said it's the most blue collar position.
Oh God, yeah.
In the band.
Absolutely. It's half athlete, man.
Yeah, you're just
running on a treadmill.
You're just back there and you're just building a spine to the music. And it's a little bit thankless.
It is.
And they're, drum solos are widely considered douchier than guitar solos.
Yeah,
couldn't tell you why. And then, vocalists, their whole fucking position is a solo. They're up front in the leather pants and
you have a job to do.
Yeah.
You're clocking in.
You're in the back. Like
you're in the back.
Like if a band is a building, you're in the mail room. And it's like, shut the fuck up, sort the mail. But without you, we're fucked.
Or if your band is a building, you're like the foundation.
Yeah.
You're the columns.
Mm-hmm.
You're like the meat of the fucking structure of that building.
Yeah. Like you're needed, but, rarely appreciated. And which is fine, dude. Part of what makes drumming attractive to me is that it's the loudest shit, and yet I'm in the back. So I can kind of... there's nothing about being a guitarist or vocalist personality wise that lines up with me.
Especially being a singer. Hats off to the guys that can do it well.
Yeah, because I just don't.
I know.
Well, also just the vocalist thing. It's always been crazy to me that vocalists are
like a cheerleader too.
Like, why is that the sexiest position? Because to me, it's so effeminate. Like it
can be, or it can be completely badass too, though.
True. Yeah. I guess if you're
from like Dillinger Escape Plan or something.
Right. Then you're just,
the guy's a fucking monster.
You're just slamming shit against a fucking,
Jesus.
I remember my favorite, I've never seen him live, but I remember just cause we were talking about shows back when it was the Meow Meow, same building as what then became Loveland. This girl that I was interested in at the time, her and her friend were going to go see, which I to this day beat myself up for not going to the show. It was Dillinger, As I Lay Dying, Every Time I Die, Bleeding Through, and like one other band. It was like all the hits. I wasn't really a Dillinger fan, but they were headlining, so I just leave before
funny,
them.
out of all those bands, Dillinger's the band I like the most.
Right, yeah. So I don't go to the show, and I later find out that a bunch of people I knew went, and they told me that, I think his name's Greg. He's got like a weird last name from Dillinger.
Oh, the first drummer.
Like, yeah, or singer.
Oh, yeah, the singer. Sorry.
Like, it starts with a P.
Pashama or...
Yeah, whatever. I guess he like had his shirt off. He was just ripped. And like mid-song, he grabs this industrial fan, like a 30-inch non-oscillating.
Yeah, he loves throwing fans at people.
He just grabbed it, but he would slam it because the stage was in a corner. Yeah. So it was against a brick wall to your left. And so a guitarist that's stage... I've never known if stage right is when you're facing the stage or looking off of it, whatever.
That's when you're facing.
When you're facing the stage? So
no. When the crowd is facing the stage, stage right is... So if you're on the stage, you're the band. Yes. Stage right is right for you.
Okay, so then this guy was stage left against the brick wall.
Gotcha.
And Greg kind of motions him, I guess this is an account from a friend that was there, tells him to like back up a little bit. And he just, as like just mid-song, he doesn't stop or anything. He's still singing. He grabs the fan and just starts slamming it against that brick wall. Pieces of metal are like falling on these 14-year-old kids.
That era of, he would always do that shit. And like, there's a video of Dillinger like pretty early on playing at a mall. And so it's like a CD release show. Remember they used to do like shows at like Tower Records and shit.
Yeah, or like a Hot Topic or some shit. Yeah.
But it spills out into like the open thoroughway in the mall.
Mm-hmm.
So there's like an escalator going up in the middle of the crowd.
Jesus.
So it's like straight up a mall. And there's fucking kids everywhere. And they're one of those bands that like when you go and see them live, I've never seen anything like it. It's like a sporting event. There's this tension building before they even start where they're like pacing back and forth. He's stretching. They're ready to fucking murder people.
Yeah.
Right? And then the drummer like just locks eyes with everyone. They stop and they look at each other and he goes click, click, click. And they just start. The singer takes off running, literally running on the tops of the crowd. like Jesus on water. Just runs across the crowd. Like, oh my God. And that was the first song.
Jesus.
The first song. Yeah, he's a maniac.
To tie a lot of this up, I'm actually fascinated with this question. I love thinking about this for myself. If you could drum in any band, active or not, what band would it be?
That's a good question. Fuck, that's tough. That is tough. I mean, there's just so many.
Yeah. Oh, I definitely have more than one. I think at this point, I have it down to one, but it would be tough. Like if I really had that power.
What would you say?
So for me right now, it would be, and this is only because I saw a performance of theirs on SNL from back in the day, and it just got me so fucking jacked. Rage Against the Machine.
That's a good fucking answer.
I mean, that is the pocket band of all pocket bands.
That is a really good answer.
I mean,
that might be... I was going to say Queens of the Stone Age.
That'd be a fun one, too. Yeah. In a weird way, Queens would be a little more fun because there's more to it. But what I like about...
obviously like close to the days of
the scary thing about Rage...
thing I liked.
I think I would be dropping hammers so goddamn hard that my drumming would suck, and it's the easiest drumming ever. It's a lot of 4/4 grooves at a really easy BPM.
Easy, but also the blue collar thing you were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
Like easy, but don't get it twisted.
Right.
You're fucking working out back there.
Well, especially with how fucking hard I would have to hit hearing Zach's voice.
Oh, dude.
Just screaming the same line over and over.
That drummer didn't have an option. He had to fucking bring it.
Oh, fuck, dude. How do you go?
I mean,
how do you go from that to Audio Slave? That's tough.
I'm a dove.
That's tough biz right there.
He's not even opening his mouth.
How do you do that? Like, I would, if somebody was like, hey, Rage isn't a thing anymore, Tom, if I'm Tom Morello, and they're like, but we got this Audio Slave thing. Here's one song. I'd listen to the song. I'd be like, I'll do it, but I'm going to need some of Chris Cornell's heroin that he takes. Like,
yeah,
I'm going to need to be lit the fuck up in order to handle that.
Yeah, but you asked them and they really liked it, and I think it was probably a nice break after being in Rage Against the fucking Machine. By the way, that band, there's, I've heard Tom Morello talk about this. There's no way to like explain the weight of being in a band like Rage, because it wasn't just a big band. That's hard enough. That's hard enough to be in a stadium rock band that is big around the world. Mm-hmm. That's hard enough.
Yeah.
But now do that with like political energy. So everywhere they would go, there was almost a riot. It got to the point where all their tour managers and the crew, they would have to notify the police departments. Like, it was like the circus coming to town.
Well, yeah, and that's something they don't get. That's a really good point, because they don't get credit for the fact that they were doing that before it was edgy.
Pre 9/11.
Now you can do that, and it's just kind of like, you're another band that thinks that the government sucks.
This is back, like, yeah, you're absolutely right. In the 90s and shit.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they were banned from SNL. For what? They didn't rip it. It's because they had upside down
American flags
on their cabs.
Yeah.
I mean, Jesus.
And they're artists.
Yeah.
I mean, it
It's a
is really
statement.
crazy. It is a statement.
It's not even a violent statement. It's just like the NFL
They're
kneeling
just trying to
shit.
prod and cause people to think that we're not a perfect country.
Yep.
I remember being young and it really hit me really hard. It's like, this is fucked, man. There's so many people in prison. Wait, most of them are fucking black? Oh, man. Like, just this spiral of like questions I had, and it really was profound for me. I mean, I would say that I don't agree with all of that type of political way now. Like I guess you'd call rage far left, right?
Yeah.
But
yeah.
the irony in that is they're actually not, because they're anti-government.
Right.
Right. They're like freedom. It's about freedom.
Yeah,
freedom
they got pegged as anarchists all the time.
Right.
And Tom Morello would be like, that couldn't be less true.
Yeah. They're I mean, I get libertarian is like probably the closest to it, but they're
which back then was fucking edgy.
Edgy, right?
Libertarian back then was like, oh, dude, so total anarchy? No, that's not. That's not what we're saying.
Now is like most people I know.
Yeah.
If you're being honest with yourself.
But yeah, that'd be my band. I mean, if you would have asked me, I mean, for the longest time, it was Deftones.
Yep, that'd be a good one.
But then that's also one for me where I'm like, I don't really want to touch that. I don't want to be responsible for it because Abe is such a huge influence for me that I couldn't fill those shoes. I would just be ruining something that I
Did I tell you I met Chino last year?
Yeah.
Yeah, we did like a music conference out in Bend.
Yeah, he lives in Bend, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Neil and I and this guy Justin Abel, who's another producer here in town.
Oh shit, yeah. I know Justin. I met Justin through Vinny.
Oh, okay, yeah. Justin's probably going to come hang out with Stateside. And
that's insane.
Yeah.
Justin
We're gonna have him on the show.
went?
We should.
Man.
He's been on the show.
Really?
Yeah, back in the day.
Check it out. He's a really nice guy.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking a little while ago of having... Let's book that shit. Let's come back on.
That's awesome.
Anyway, yeah. So him and Neil were invited to talk on a panel. It was like it was something...
Oh, I remember this.
It was like a music conference. I forget the theme of it or whatever, but yeah, it was all like local Oregon people in the music industry. And obviously, since Chino lives in Bend, he was asked to do it. And so it was really fucking cool. Like everyone went in and like introduced themselves. And then the guy that put on the event obviously gave Chino more time because everyone was just like fucking waiting for him to talk.
Yeah.
And he was so sweet and he was so like charitable with his time. You know, you have to imagine, because it was like 3 days after that music conference, he went on a world tour.
Jeez.
You know, he's home for a blink of a second with his family.
Yeah.
and we asked him to come out here at some stupid bar and, you know, talk to us.
Yeah,
but he was so kind.
Deftones has been on my my bucket list for bands to design for I mean, as long as I've been designing. It's just fucking impossible.
If you go to settings, that's how I figured.
Is that what it is?
Go to notifications.
It's funny because I've actually always wanted to know how to do this.
And then I'll go to that. Oh, and do not disturb.
Oh, that is what's up.
And then also close your shit out too.
It is. Hell yeah.
But yeah, Chino was so kind. Like, you know, because we talked to him after and took some pictures of him and shit. And he was just such a nice guy. I mean, he stood around and talked to kids for like an hour after this conference. You know, and you could tell that all the kids knew who he was that lived in Bend. They were so proud to say that he lived there. Because Bend is a really isolated town.
Yeah. I mean, I was reading in an article. That's what Chino likes about it.
Yeah, for sure.
It's got it feels like it's so distant from, you got to think about all the stimulation he gets being in that world, like a fucking, that's an A-level celebrity.
Oh, I just remember the guy that put on that conference. I think his name was John. John was a really nice guy, and he'd be a really good guest too on the show. He puts on a lot of shows down there, like really, really big festivals.
Oh, dude, yeah, we should totally do that.
It's like a show promoter angle.
Yeah.
He also like produces music too, I think.
Yeah,
cool
let's
guy.
do that. Yeah, him, Justin, that would be killer.
Fuck yeah. I have a couple topics here. Oh shit! Did you see Brendan Schaub was on the Logan Paul podcast?
Yeah, I wanna check that out. Yeah,
Terrible,
I haven't checked that out. I heard about it though.
So I actually checked it out this morning. It was surprisingly good. I have to admit.
That's what I heard. I heard that Logan Paul kind of drops the act a little bit, and he's actually a much more introspective.
He's just a way normal guy.
Yeah.
I mean, he's still Logan Paul at times, and you're like, oh, there it is. But yeah, I mean, I think he's as real as that guy can get, I guess.
Right.
Whatever. But I appreciated, it was something that I kind of started to think about, you know, because they were kind of going back and forth, like Brendan Schaub and Logan Paul were going back and forth. You know, Logan would ask him what it's like to be a stand-up comic now, coming from fighting. And then Brendan Schaub would point out that, you know, he's a YouTuber, also trying to make it in like traditional Hollywood media, like trying to be an actor, and how they're both these guys who didn't stay in their lane and are, you know, have a tough time because a lot of people give Brendan Schaub a ton of shit for being a comic.
Right.
A lot of people.
Yeah.
They're like, this motherfucker, I've been doing stand-up comedy for 15 fucking years before I got my first stand-up special. This kid's been doing it for a couple of years and he gets one. Right. And obviously that's flawed logic. We all know that.
Right. Well, here's my thing with that, though. And I'm sure this is what Joe Rogan's saying in Schaub's ear, my feeling on that is good, because if I told you, if I was like, hey, James, I just sold my house, can't do the podcast anymore because I have to go to LA and be a stand-up comic, no one would give a shit. And that's so much harder than people doubting you, because people doubting you, especially people already in the industry, they're talking about you. And when they talk shit about you to, say, another comedian or to some non-comedians, your name is now in those people's ears. And then they see your name on a marquee, or that you're going to do a show, whatever. They're going to be like, hey, that sounds familiar because that one comedian I like was talking shit about this guy. Let me go check it out. So all you got to do is just be good.
Yeah.
And they're almost like, you know, people talking shit about you to a degree. They're handing out flyers for you.
Yeah. And like, it's also just flawed logic in thinking that someone didn't deserve to get to where they got. What does that even mean?
Yeah.
Brendan Schaub got punched in the face for a living. Like, that's how he got a pedestal. That's how people started to know who he was. That's how he got, quote, famous.
Yeah.
And from that, he started to do podcasting. He was naturally funny on the podcast. One thing leads to another. He's doing stand-up comedy. And if you hate a guy for doing that, you're insane.
Yeah.
He's worked his fucking ass off.
You're just insecure.
You're just insecure. You're a fucking hater.
It's like, okay, well, this isn't fair. You know, that's all that is. And Brendan is just is it Brendan or Brandon Schaub? I still don't know, actually.
It is Brendan.
It is Brendan.
With an E.
Okay.
Brendan.
Yeah, it's them. It's misplaced anger. That's all that is.
Yeah, and like with Logan Paul, who I'm not a fan of. I do not like his stuff. It's not for me. It's not my cup of tea.
Yeah, you're not 16.
No, but it doesn't matter. That's something I say on the show all the time. It doesn't matter what I think.
No.
It's a separate thing. Things can exist outside your brain. Believe it or not, people. Things can be successful, and there can be an industry outside of you and what you like. And Logan Paul is good at what he does.
Ricky Gervais has the greatest bit about this, where he said, and you have to watch, I don't know if you're much of a stand-up comedy fan, but dude, his most
huge,
most recent special, you got to watch it. He talks about how what you're describing right now is things existing outside of your life, things that you don't really like, you're not a fan of. They're going to exist, and they have a right to.
Yes.
He has this bit about being upset about that is like seeing a sign that says, you know, guitar lessons, and then there's a bunch of pieces of paper with a phone number on it, and you call up the number and you go, I don't fucking want guitar lessons.
It's insane.
It's like, why the fuck did you call? Just walk away. It's not for you.
It's not for you then.
That's all.
Dummy.
It's actually harder for you to fucking stomp your feet.
Yes.
And get pissed about it.
And even further from that point is the whole idea that people like Logan Paul or people like Brendan Schaub or anyone on this planet has to stay in, quote, their lane. I don't know what that means. I don't know where that comes from. Anyway, it was just something that, because of this podcast, it got me really thinking about that sort of topic, because I really encourage people to go do the thing they want to do. And if you are, say you're a musician, which a lot of our audience are, say you're in a band, but you've always wanted to do a podcast. Don't think that because this is your identity that you can't now go do a podcast, or now you want to try acting, or you want to give it all up and try being a firefighter. I did that shit for 3 years. I got my EMT license and I was a firefighter for 3 fucking years. And I remember at the time, I wouldn't say people gave me shit, but there was a lot of like, huh? What? And that's fine. I mean, it's understandable to take such a hard turn, but life is very long and we are very diverse people, right? And to try to just like pigeonhole people into one type of person is so crazy and limiting that it makes me like, makes me get like anxiety, you know, like the thought that I can't try different things.
The whole stay in your lane. If you think about that, like where does that end?
Where does it end? So Brendan Schaub was just supposed to be what, an MMA fighter his entire life?
Did they ever bring up the Chris D'Elia shit?
Doesn't make any sense. Yeah, they totally brought it up.
Okay, I was gonna say they'd be insane if they didn't.
Yeah, Logan, he handled as good as he possibly could. He's like, look, I got into I forgot how it's worth watching, but
I'll check it out.
He points out that he basically gets into the ring with a professional fighter. You know, like, why would I ever have done that?
Right.
I'm the fucking moron for starting a Twitter war with Chris D'Elia.
Yeah.
The roast king of the world. Like, this guy loves doing this. He's professional at it. And he even was like, yeah, I'm a fan of his too. I like his comedy.
Yeah, because I listened the most recent Chris D'Elia podcast. He talks about just the Logan Paul, Brendan Schaub podcast, and he's just kind of like, I'm stoked for the kid. He can do whatever, and
he's 23 years old. Dude.
He's like, even our little roast thing, I don't think about it. It's a thing that he's like, even if you see me on Twitter, tell somebody like, fuck off, you piece of shit. Even if I say that, those are harsh words. I get off my phone and I just move on. And sometimes I forget that I did it. He's like, I don't really invest emotionally, even though some people glean from my interactions on Twitter that that's what I'm doing, but it isn't. That's how good at that whole Twitter comedy roasting thing that Chris D'Elia is he can do it without being emotionally invested.
Yeah, it's just a setup for a punchline. You're just setting him up to make a joke. And that's what a lot of those guys, that's how they see it.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, it was fascinating because, again, Logan Paul's not my cup of tea. I don't really like his content, but again, it doesn't matter.
It's an awesome hustle on Logan's part because that's a good get.
He's a hard worker, man.
To get Brendan Schaub. I mean that was a smart move because that
not just to get him on his side.
Yes,
and Brendan Schaub was defending him to the end.
I almost wonder if he was a bit handpicked because it's like you were saying, if they talked about not staying in your lane and you're new at this thing, you're new at something I'm trying to get into.
It really seemed very organic. I mean, the reason that Brendan Schaub was asked to be on the show was because, I mean, I would assume because when Logan Paul, he did like a fight with someone. I think he boxed another YouTuber or something.
He did, yeah, and it did really well.
Yeah, and they made money and seemed like he was actually trained for it, and like he trained 4 hours a day for 5 months. I mean, he legitimately worked very hard to do this boxing match, whatever.
Right.
But yeah, and so I remember at the time Brendan Schaub being critical the way that anyone should be. Like, yeah, it is a little ridiculous, but it's no more ridiculous than Conor McGregor going in boxing. He's not a boxer.
Right.
Yeah, he's a fighter. But Logan Paul grew up wrestling. He won like state championships in high school wrestling. He was a football player. He's a big guy. He's a big kid.
He is. Yeah, he's in good shape. And
so I just found it fascinating that it's actually what I like about Brendan Schaub the most is as disagreeable as he can be. And you know what I mean by that? He's very disagreeable. He's also very positive. And he's mostly positive towards people that put in the work.
Yeah.
Right? And so if you are someone like Logan Paul, again, doesn't matter if you like his stuff or not, but he's arguably one of the best at that. And he's a multimillionaire from YouTube, like a multi-millionaire.
It's hard to deny hard work.
Start a YouTube channel. See how that goes for you.
Yeah.
Start a YouTube channel. Start filming yourself all day. They call it a vlog. Post it on YouTube. See what happens. See if you get the kind of numbers that asshole got.
Yeah.
It's fucking nuts, man.
Got to take a trip to Suicide Forest in Japan.
Dude. Yeah, they talked about that.
Yeah.
you know, and they were very honest about it. I mean, no one is like saying it was a good thing, and I mean, he's a kid.
Well, yeah, he
Raise
almost
your
takes
hand if
like
you didn't make mistakes in your early 20s.
Oh, I for sure did.
Jesus.
Yeah, it's, you know, it's one of those things. I'm kind of solipsistic about that shit. It's like he's doing what he's doing and he's doing that, and that's cool. Like I almost sound uninterested because I sort of am.
Because you are. Yeah, that's the point. It's the metaphor or the example used from Ricky Gervais.
Yeah,
it really is that.
You walk by the guitar lesson.
Just walk by it.
Do not take the time
it's not for you
to call that shit and try to make them feel bad about offering guitar lessons and shit.
By the way, it's how I think about everything: movies, bands. I think it's so funny when people get so bent out of shape about this stuff. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying I'm, you know, immune to it, because I do it too. I'm not saying I'm perfect and I don't ever judge or give my opinion on things. I talk shit about bands all the fucking time. But if you really want the truth from me, the truth is it doesn't matter what I think. The truth is if it's working for another demographic, then cool. Godspeed. Go get yours.
All day.
Yeah, it's fucking funny to me. People just, I don't know why people think that, you know, the human experience is one dimensional.
Yeah, I know.
It's so weird. It's so fucking weird.
It really is. It's just so fucking uninteresting. It's a lot of, you know, it's just complaining and shit. I don't know. If you can make your complaints funny, cool, but yeah, a lot of people can't. It's just whiny, and it causes ear fatigue for me.
You know the actor from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air that played Carlton?
Yeah.
Can't think of that actor's name right now, but that guy.
Is this about him suing Fortnite?
Yes.
Dude, I love it.
So he sues Fortnite and NBA 2K for using the, quote, Carlton dance.
Yeah, how does that work? Does he have the trademark on that?
I doubt it.
How do you trademark a movement? And I don't...
Like, every white guy does that at every wedding.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. Every 80s night at the venue I used to work at did that. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
How do you trademark a dance? Has that even been done before?
I don't know. I mean, you know...
Can you trademark, like, the twist? The fucking...
I wonder about, like the Macarena. What about that one?
No, doesn't make any sense.
We live in a fucking litigious world. I mean, you know, specifically a litigious nation. This is how we make money. We litigate. Go sue crazy.
Oh my God. I want to talk about this. So do you remember the guy with the really thick neck that was arrested? Yeah. Did you see this the other day? The thick neck guy and Daddy Long Neck.
Daddy Long Neck, yeah.
So for those listening, a white guy with a very long neck and a big black dude with a very thick neck got together and paired up and made a rap song and video together.
Yeah, and it's horseshit.
It's also terrible, clearly.
Daddy Long Neck does not just have a long neck. That fucker...
Jesus.
He's anorexic, or, I mean...
He's dying.
Yes.
He's actively dying.
Yeah, he
looks terrible.
And you don't know what age he is now, but yeah, he's got like 5 years to live.
And what's the name of the band? Next Up.
I kind of like that. That's cool. I'm into that. Should be called fucking birthdefects.com. They are horrendous looking, all of them. I mean, wide neck is the least odd looking.
It was released on the 16th and it already has over 3 million views. Ho-ho! I wish I could see this video.
I actually haven't seen the video.
Shawty let the neck, go we next up. Shawty wanna fuck, go we next up. Shawty sub me up, go we next up. Shawty make it clap, go we next up.
Shawty lick me up, cause we up next. Shawty wanna fuck, cause we up next. Shawty sub me up, cause we up next.
It's rough.
God bless America.
That is rough. You know, not the worst rap I've heard recently.
Yeah, it's surprisingly good.
What's the view count of that video at?
Over 3 million.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, so they're making money off that.
It's weird because it's like, you know, that's for me quality wise, that's not up to snuff. But at the same point, that's not the point anymore.
Like we were just talking about, we can't expect these neck motherfuckers to stay in their necky lane.
Yeah.
They want to go cash in on their neck stuff.
Yeah.
Then they should. And they are. Now, will they be famous for more than a second? Nope. No, they won't.
Yeah, I mean, I hope not. But at the same time, why would I hope that? I don't know.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
I guess I don't care, but it is weird. I think anybody that has an issue with that, it's just the lack of comfort that you feel when your understanding of the world is flawed. To me, like 1 + 1 is 2, and good sounding shit is what gets popular. The first one is true. The second one is not. Good sounding shit is not always what gets popular, and bad sounding shit is not always what can't get more than 10 views on YouTube. Sometimes it's a little of either, and these guys, they found a way to fucking make it work. I just hope that there isn't some like weird manager that's fucking them over, and because they seem like
vultures come out.
Yeah, they seem like a couple agreeable dudes that are just, hey, I can make you a star, and they're,
That's the same kid that was on your mom's house podcast, right?
Yeah.
That's so funny. That's the same kid.
I mean, dude, there's videos of him like
What the
twerking, like he's just in his underwear, and his body is fucking bizarre.
It's so weird.
And my thing is, if he's technically like healthy and shit, and he's just doing this, maybe he just kind of like looks weird.
How
cool.
can he be?
But I'm wondering if there's, that fucker might have like heart disease, and he's just out there filming rap videos, and I want him to go to the doctor.
Yeah, I want him to go to the doctor.
Get some medicine and
let's get some medicine.
Rehab it or
take a nap.
surgery or whatever the fuck. But there's no way that he's.
Yeah, for those who have no idea what we're talking about, just type in Daddy Longneck on Google, on the Google machine, and click images and just have some fun. Better yet, click videos. Look at that fucking
So I'm saying,
E.T. motherfucker.
what's going on there?
Yeah, because you're right. That's not just a long neck. That's a whole thing.
His whole shit is weird. Like everything about him.
Oh. No, that's obviously not real, right?
100% real.
No.
Yeah.
That's not photoshopped?
Well, I guess.
That's real?
Okay, that might.
I mean, he looks like an Auschwitz.
That midsection. But I mean, that's not far off. I've seen video of him like twerking, and then there's videos of like women twerking on him because he's an E-list celebrity.
That's
right now.
real, and he looks insane there.
Yeah. And that looks a bit older too. So if he's, with his fame, if he's fucking with drugs and shit, it's only going to get worse.
Now, what do you think looks better, the long haircut for him or the shaved head that he's rocking now?
See,
like what balances out that?
It was tough because the long
body.
hair. Can't believe I'm like seriously going to answer that question, but I have a legit opinion.
I
on
really
that.
want to know.
His long hair accentuated his bizarre, emaciated frame, but the loss of hair accentuates this like brain cancer thing. Like he looks sicker without his hair. It looks like whatever disease he has that's fucking eating away at his body is getting stronger, and now he's losing his fucking hair too.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
So it's tough. I'm back and forth on it. Basically, they both looked horrible.
Hey, guess what? I need a fucking piss horde, so I'm gonna go pee-pee.
Yeah, I need another beer.
We'll come back, do some movie stuff, and I'll be right back.
Shawty lit the neck, going next up. Shawty wanna fuck, going next up. Shawty sub me up, going next up. Shawty make it clap, going next up.
Shawty lick me up, cause we up next. Shawty wanna fuck, cause we up next. Shawty suck me up.
I had a great pee break. I hope everyone else listening had a great break that you didn't have because it's a podcast and probably 1 second went by for you. How about you, Alan?
It was great.
Good.
I just sat here on the couch and pissed my pants.
Oh, good.
That's how I do
Pee
it.
your pants, rip your eyes out.
Yep,
Smoke crystal meth and rip your eyes out, bro.
absolutely.
I'm looking at the Scottish flag, the American flag, and the Irish flag.
Mm-hmm.
Looks good. We got some framed band posters in here. Alan is working on a poster wall in the corner.
Yep.
Things are looking dope, man. Things are looking dope.
Should have a new couch soon.
Fuck yeah, man.
It's funny, when I started this, I was like, this will be a fun thing to do, and it'll be maybe a fun little project that, unlike my other ones, I won't get like financially wrapped up in, you know. And then fucking the mic and the interface, and I'm just like,
No.
It's my fault. I can't half-ass anything.
I appreciate it, man. I really do.
It's fun. It's more fun that way. So
Yeah.
mission accomplished.
Make it yours.
Yeah.
I hate this ceiling, right?
Yeah.
It's pretty bad.
It's super depressing. I try not to look at it,
Yeah, I never know what to do about it.
especially this one panel that's like, I mean, that's a gaping hole.
Well, I guess the one thing we could think about is if we're not going to use the lights up top, which we could, but if we don't, then, and we just rely on lamps down here or whatever,
Yeah.
then we could almost like you see people put flags on roofs.
Yeah.
Let's do that kind of thing
Yeah.
or something of that nature. A tapestry, if you will.
Yeah, get it like a 70s tour bus in here.
Exactly.
Fucking flags everywhere.
Do some, what are the tie-dye banners and shit?
Yeah.
Love it. Did you have some current event news things on there?
Yeah. I got some stuff.
On the old computer machine?
Yeah, let's see. We got, the first one was the Cannibal Corpse guitarist, Pat O'Brien.
Mm-hmm.
He is out of jail, but initially what happened was his house caught fire, and then so he ran to a neighbor's house and entered the house like without knocking, you know, just because it's an emergency. He just runs in,
Yeah.
starts using the neighbor's phone without permission or anything. Neighbor calls the cops when he notices, and the cops show up.
Wait,
and
was the people home? Were the people home that he ran into?
I guess so. They either arrived home or they were somewhere in the house and came into the room that Pat was in, saw him, freaked out, called cops. Cops show up. Fire department does not. I believe the house, I don't know if they saved the house or not. Anyway, long story short, the police check it out after the fact and arrest him because within the house he had 50 shotguns, 10 semi-automatic rifles, 2 what are called Uzi style rifles, and 20 handguns. Naturally, thousands of rounds of ammunition were also present.
Were they? You can't just arrest a guy for having guns. Were they like illegal guns or?
I'm assuming so. A search warrant reveals that authorities found 2 flamethrowers inside the home as well.
Jesus Christ.
After serving several days in the county jail, O'Brien was released on December 14th and is currently free on bail. But just think about that. Like so I guess he was charged with assault and burglary. So he must have gotten into a scuffle with the homeowner as well. And I don't know what they're saying that he fucking burgled, but
Yeah. And also the gun thing, I mean, yes, that is excessive, but you do have a right to own guns, and actually
Right.
you have a right to own as many guns as you want. But yeah, I'm just curious, like maybe
do flamethrowers count as guns?
I mean, I don't know.
That's rough.
I don't think they do.
I don't know.
I don't even know what is that? Yeah.
If you gave me like $5,000 right now and just said, go buy yourself a flamethrower, I'd be like, where? Where do I go? I would Google it, I guess.
Why is another valid question.
Yeah, that too.
How?
Right.
When? Like how, what time of is there how do you do that?
It's a weird thing because we all know what a flamethrower is, but to me, owning one, I mean, it might as well be a fucking hoverboard.
Didn't fucking Tesla make a flamethrower?
Yeah. Elon Musk took it to Joe Rogan. I think Joe still has it.
Oh, that's right.
Because now if you're his guest, you can either pose with the katana or the flamethrower.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
Well, it's an interesting world out there.
Fuck yeah, it is. Yeah, I'm light on news. Other than that, I pulled up one when I was looking for some shit. It just says
It's all good.
An unspeakable tragedy. Connecticut town stunned by arrest of 12-year-old in killing of twin sister, stabbing mother. Just says 12-year-old.
What did he do? Sorry, go ahead.
He's from what I read, he stabbed his sister to death and then stabbed his mom. It says 12-year-old boy allegedly killed his twin sister by stabbing her in the neck and torso and attacking his mother, a prominent lobbyist. So she deserved it. And what a family friend described as an unspeakable tragedy in their Connecticut home, officials said.
Jeez.
Bridget Curtin was identified Wednesday as the 12-year-old who was killed by her brother in their West Hartford home, according to the Hartford County Medical Examiner's Office. Bridget suffered stab wounds to her neck and torso, a medical examiner official told ABC News. Her brother also allegedly stabbed his mother, identified by her employer as Jane Marie Murphy, 56, who survived the eruption of domestic violence Monday afternoon.
Whoa. 12 years old, huh?
Yeah. At
Boy.
the weirdest thing is the time all this went down. The police were called at 3:30 p.m.
Yeah.
It's typically a very peaceful part of the day, but
Sure is.
in this house, just a very stabby time of day.
Awfully stabby. Being stabbed would be terrible.
Yeah. Officers arrived on scene and located the 2 victims and the suspect. It doesn't sound like the mother... She was stabbed, but it seems like it was... I mean, 12-year-old's arms are probably gassed out after killing a whole person, and then the mom just kind of got what was left. Yeah, it doesn't say what happened to him.
This is a weird question, but I wonder what the average age is for murder, to be a murderer.
Yeah. Right, because the sweet spot would be somewhere, in the, I don't know, life experience meeting, physical health.
Yeah, it's got to be our age plus 10 years, maybe, plus or minus 10 years.
I would say so. Yeah.
Yeah, my guess would be a 40-year-old white male is the guy.
Yeah, I honestly think my guess would be 30, and I'll tell you why. Typically, mental illness sets in around 25.
Mm-hmm.
So then I kind of feel like you experience, half a decade of some bullshit, and you kind of get to a point where you're fed up, and then things you're told to go to the doctor, and you're medication non-compliant, and then you fucking snap after a while, because there's got to be a few initial years of confusion trying to figure out your diagnosis, or maybe being in denial of it or something.
Right.
I wonder if that's a Googleable thing,
or even people without mental illness, gangbanger dudes and people that kill because of culture, and I don't know. There's different reasons people murder bitches, I guess.
Oh, the first thing that comes up says homicide fact, age matters. It says murder is the act of the young.
Whoa.
According to the FBI's
Impulsive.
Uniform Crime Report, the average age of homicide victims fell from 34 years old in 1980 to 31 years old in 1984, and then increased to 32 years.
Those are the victims?
Those are victims. So the number of... Okay, so... I'm trying to... Okay. The age pattern for homicide offenders follows a pattern similar to homicide victims. Homicide offending rates decrease with age. According to the UCR
Makes
data,
sense.
the average age of homicide offenders fell from 29 years old in 1980 to 26 in 1994, and then increased to 28 in 2008.
So you're basically right on the money.
Yeah.
Yeah, right around that time.
Yeah, because that is...
Whoa.
I mean, that is a mental illness minefield. 25 to 30 is...
When everything starts popping off.
Real fucking rough. Yeah.
And like you're saying, you're young enough to still be healthy and able, strong enough to do it. Whoa. Yeah, that's great. How does America compare to other parts of the world for homicide?
I know it's fucking way higher.
Aren't we pretty goddamn high?
Yeah. Yeah, it's rough. At least with, I should say not even at least, but especially with gun murders.
Well, it's definitely with, that stuff. Crazy. Did you have any other fun, depressing news stories?
I didn't know, dude. Just the Cannibal Corpse guy, and then the stabby 12-year-old.
Hey, what's the name of your band? Cannibal Corpse.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
I know. It's kind of mind-blowing that it was just that it was something as chill as assault and burglary. You would think with being the guitarist in a band like that,
eat someone's face.
Yep, for sure.
and then wear their face. Yeah, it's fucking nuts. I always think about like bands like Dillinger Escape Plan, because we were talking about them earlier, for example. How crazy. I mean, they're such a fucking crazy band. How am I trying to explain this? Like, imagine just on average being in that band. It's one thing to experience something like that as the audience, because it's one time for you. So it's this moment.
Yeah.
But try sustaining that as a career. Every practice you do that? What?
Yeah.
Huh?
Or they don't. You know, maybe
I
it's
know.
that's when they
they don't do
when no one's watching, it's like, okay, we can be normal.
They're just standing still. But it's still crazy music that you have to work up some sort of physicality.
Oh yeah, that's true.
And like emotion, and yeah, it's crazy. Or like that Meshuggah,
Yeah.
that band.
Well, I remember specifically though hearing that their drummer Thomas Hake, he says that they just, because you know when they tour for a while. He won't practice until 3 months before the tour, and then it's a lot of like individual practicing.
That makes sense for that band.
Yeah, because that's a whole thing. That's a lot.
The whole fucking thing. Yeah.
But at the same time, with the kind of music they play, they need to be tight as shit, or it is going to sound horrible.
Yeah, those are those kind of bands that you're right. They have to be so tight, or else it just comes across so lame.
Yeah.
The worst.
You've got every guitar note matching up with every kick drum hit, and timing, and just the cardio. Like some of those songs are 5-6 minutes of just
I know.
really intense shit.
That song Bleed. I'm not doing the pattern right, but it's fucking insane.
Yeah.
Try doing that. I don't even think.
I still don't understand it. I've like kind of tried, not super hard, but I have tried just to even be able to do it with my hands. I don't even understand the pattern yet.
I was just going to say, I remember trying to do it with my hands and I couldn't figure it out. I know my buddy Josh can do it. Here's the song. Wait, start this over. I like the stop coming up here. So crazy.
You just get like a brief moment.
Ugh, just breathe real quick.
Yeah.
But that kind of drumming it's different than like what maybe the average person that, you know, isn't in a band or not a musician, they might think that's heavy. It's heavy music. It's not heavy drumming, meaning he's not hitting hard. Is what I'm trying to say.
To a degree, yeah. I've tried to kind of tell that to people.
He's hitting with conviction. You can't be a pussy.
Right.
But he's not Dave Grohl it. It's not this full wind up and
yeah.
He's not.
That's kind of the trade-off.
No.
Typically, the more extreme the music, the less it's about strength and speed and more about control.
Just control.
That's essentially what blast beating is.
Yep.
You are not slamming it down as hard as you can.
No.
It's about controlling your wrist and hand.
Barely even hitting.
Yeah. Yep.
I think the left hand you have to hit hard. Like that, the dude from Meshuggah hits really hard with his left hand, the snare drum. Like if you and he does the, what do they call it? It's open playing, so he's not crossing over with the hi-hat. But he has the hi-hat over here on the right.
Yeah, he does the
next
left
to the ride.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of guys have those.
So you can just wind up with that left hand.
Have you ever fucked with like cable hats? It's on like a cable that like...
I mean, I've not personally, but I know what you mean.
Yeah, those are the shit. I mean, I've never owned it, but that's... If I see a kit at Guitar Center with those, I
always thought it'd be fun. I mean, it wouldn't fit for any of the bands I was in, but if I were in a band that this worked, I thought it'd be fun to have like the normal size hi-hat, like the workhorse hi-hat, where it normally is, you know, on the left, and then have like a totally different sounding hi-hat with that on the right, like
Yeah.
what Sugar has. I know, like the dude from Dave Matthews Band does that kind of stuff.
Oh, dude, Carter Beauford. That guy is.
Oh, Jesus fucking Christ, man!
He's so damn good, and he just sits back there chewing gum like
Maybe one of the best of
like
all
he's
time.
doing nothing.
Like
he's
he's
so
just
relaxed.
doing taxes back there.
Yeah, dude. I've always loved 13-inch hi-hats. I think
Now
they're
is
the
he
shit.
really goofy? Yes.
Yeah.
Does he wear little booties when he plays? Yes.
Yeah.
Is it a little much? Absolutely.
Big ass kit.
It's so crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but he's one of those guys that like, I don't know. You can practice your whole life and try to replicate that kind of drumming, but he is proof that I think some people were born with it.
Yeah, he's one of those drummers we were talking about earlier. It's different.
It's different. It's a different fucking ball game for him.
And he's incredible. But
By the way, he's in Dave Matthews Band, the most like unassuming. You don't, for me still, and again, we're musicians, so we know or whatever. But I wouldn't think of Dave Matthews Band as being like representing top musicianship. If you were the average listener that just listens to singles on the radio or whatever,
yeah.
you hear a Dave Matthews Band song and you're like, oh, I love this song, Crash Into Me, and whatever the other ones are.
Yeah, like the weirdest sentence ever is
You wouldn't know.
the Dave Matthews Band drummer shreds. But that's
Yes.
true.
And the bass player.
Yeah.
And Dave Matthews, by the way.
All of
Have you
them.
ever seen his chord structure? Like
Yeah.
pinky to thumb, like he's spreading his hands out so crazy.
Yeah, just insane musicianship.
The weirdest
throughout the whole
time
band.
signatures.
Yeah, they don't give a fuck.
But it's like this poppy, almost hippie jam thing.
Who did Dave
I
Matthews?
don't know how he did that.
Dave Matthews dated some like pretty solid female celebrity, didn't he?
I'm sure.
Gotta look it
he's
up.
Laid some pipe around.
About to look it up.
He lives in Seattle with his family. I know he's a Seattle guy.
That's cool. He looks like Adam Sandler with Down syndrome.
Yes, he does.
I think they're friends too, if I remember correctly.
Oh my God, that's really fucking funny to me.
Dave
He
Matthews.
looks like Adam Sandler with Down syndrome.
What do I say here? Dating. I'll say dates.
Wikipedia usually has a good personal
Oh
life.
yeah, the personal life section. All right, I just said dates celebrity.
Why does he sound so weird? Is that an
He
accent?
does. He's like a. He's like
Louisiana boy, right?
It's almost like a white guy Shakira. Like he's got that peanut butter mouth thing going on sometimes.
I think, he's from Charlottesville, Virginia. So he's a southern boy. Maybe that's what it is. But it's the strangest sounding voice.
Okay, yeah, I'm just gonna go to Wikipedia. Jesus, Google's blowing me off hard.
Yeah. Yep. I actually remember, my buddies telling me to watch Carter Buford's DVD. Is it Carter Buford? It's not Buford.
It should be
right?
like that.
Is it Buford Carter?
No. It's spelled Buford. That's his last name.
Oh, what is it?
But I feel like I've heard multiple people say Carter Beauford.
Oh, okay.
But I have no idea. I feel stupid saying Beauford, but I don't know.
So we'll call him Carter for now.
Yeah, that's fine.
But yeah, I just remember them going like, dude, you have to check this out. This guy fucking shreds. And I didn't believe it. It's like, oh, you mean the guy from Dave Matthews Band? Huh?
I know, that's a tough one. It's hard to... I was the same way with Chad Smith, though. I didn't know he could shred. But the thing is, any drummer that's been playing as long as those dudes, they eventually develop that skill. Yeah, Dave Matthews never dated a celebrity. I don't know who I'm thinking of. He married his longtime girlfriend in 2000.
Oh, shit. Shitty shit. Do you like any like jam band stuff like Fish, Grateful Dead? Because I sure as fuck don't.
Yeah, definitely no to those two.
Can't do it.
Yeah, not that I can think of. The jam band thing is kind of a... And maybe I'm wrong about this, but I feel like that's kind of an older concept.
Yeah, and it's what does that mean? It's like jam band. Okay. So do you mean people that improv? Or do you mean the genre jam band? Because that's a genre. You know what I'm saying? The
Yeah.
Grateful Dead and Fish are a genre.
Well, I Googled it. It says a rock band that plays music characterized by long improv passages.
Yeah, but that can be a band called Don Caballero or...
Yeah, because a passage doesn't have to be a full song.
Yeah.
So a lot of bands so you can be a jam band for a moment. Like Red Hot Chili Peppers could be a jam band.
Right.
A lot of bands I've seen live then technically at one point throughout the set were a jam band. If they have like an interlude or a creative way to get into a popular song so they don't just like give it away and it's not this cold, sterile performance.
But one thing I always say, and I got my jam band 101 crash course when I worked at the Crystal Ballroom, because we would put on so many of those shows. You know, the Dark Star Orchestra would play 4 fucking nights in a row.
Yeah, Crystal
Sold
did
out.
have a lot of that.
Fish, all those kind of drawing a blank right now. The String Cheese Incident. Who the fucking all those type of bands. They're all. I mean, it's all the same. I've never been able to distinguish the difference in the bands.
Yeah.
And there's always a couple common themes. They attract the hippie crowd, like the classic hippie, dreadlocks, the fucking corduroy pants, the weed, drugs. It's all about drugs.
Yeah.
And there's a couple things that started to occur to me and everyone else around me is that if like, what am I trying to, so if, like I understand if you grew up in the 60s and you thought the Grateful Dead was like some of the most progressive music out there.
Yeah.
That's different. I get that. That makes sense. But if you're telling me that you're a 22-year-old in 2018 and you think doop deep deep ba da beep deep boop bop a deep bop boo little bip a dip for fucking 4 hours is like taking you to the moon, and that's like pushing your brain. Fuck you.
I mean, how much?
I don't buy it.
How much are drugs involved though?
Tons
Like
are involved.
put me on a fucking
But that's
100
my
milligram
point.
edible, and all of a sudden I'm like, James, you don't get it, dude. This shit is fucking.
Well,
oh
but that's my
God.
point, though. It's not always. It's not really about the music. It's about the scene,
Yeah.
right?
Oh,
It's
for
the
sure.
scene of friend, and which is fine. Again, it's their thing. It works. But the other thing that is absolutely true is that crowd typically claims to be environmentally like conscious, and they're the nice guys, right? They're the
Yeah.
ones that like want to take care of the planet and recycle, bro. But they were by far, not even fucking close, by far the most wasteful crowd, the most disrespectful crowd. Like just a foot and a half of trash. Literally, we would have to like take those big brooms and shove a foot of like paper cups and trash and toilet paper and shit and fucking puke and piss and joints and drugs and like grease, just hippie slime.
Yeah.
Just scrubbing the ballroom.
That sounds horrendous.
And they're the type of people that like don't carry wallets. So how do they pay? With their sweaty fucking money. And you know, and they like they never read the chalkboard. They just ask you how much things are. Like, how much for the beer, man?
Ugh.
And you always know that you're not getting a tip when they say, you must love working here, bro. Like that was your tip. Them being nice to you was the tip.
Dude, fuck all of that.
Fuck
sounds-
all of that.
That sounds horrible.
And it is. And it is.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm single, so I have Tinder, and every
Ugh.
time there's a girl with dreadlocks, I couldn't swipe left harder.
Yeah, you're like, see ya.
Yeah.
Nope.
No way that you have dreadlocks and
Don't.
hygiene. It's just not possible.
It's really not. And if it is, then why do you have dreadlocks? That's the whole point of it, right?
And I is a total judgment, but I just feel like that person, there's no way they're not going to be didactic, where they're just constantly trying to tell me about, well, actually,
Yes.
this and that, and just no, I'm good. I don't need all that. I need us to like actually be able to connect somehow, not have you fucking be my weird unemployed teacher.
Yeah. Not for me, man. Not for me.
Nope.
But again, back to what we were talking about earlier. It doesn't matter what I like.
Yeah.
It's a whole fucking scene. It's a whole industry. Those bands sell the fuck out, dude. I mean, you go to any of those shows and there are 4,000 people.
Oh yeah. What does Dave Matthews do? Like when he comes to the Gorge, it's like 3 nights in a row.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And I think the figure that I heard was somewhere between, I don't know if it was 1 to 3 million per show, or if he made, I think it was 1 million per show, and then so after a weekend it's 3 mil.
At the Gorge.
Yeah.
No, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And also, I think it's still true. He's the top selling. I think he's one of the top selling touring artists of all time.
Yeah, that wouldn't surprise
It's
me.
like him, Garth Brooks.
Yep.
Maybe Michael Jackson was up there at one point. I'm going to look it up. I remember being surprised. List of highest grossing concert tours. Highest grossing tours of all time. The Rolling Stones. Roger Waters from completed The Wall live. That would make sense.
Yeah.
Madonna scored the highest grossing concert tour of all time by a female artist with the Sticky and Sweet tour. One Direction. They are the highest grossing tour of all time by a vocal group. Whatever that means, like a boy band, I guess. Oh, wow. Okay, so here it is. Okay, so this list represents the top 20 grossing tours by actual gross, not adjusted for inflation, of all time. Ranked number 1 is U2. Jesus, fuck my butt. They made, let me read this number right, $736,421,584. And then adjusted for inflation, it's close to $1 billion.
Jeez.
One tour. Guns N' Roses is second. The Rolling Stones is third. Coldplay fourth. Roger Waters, AC/DC, Madonna, U2 again is number 8. Garth Brooks and Trisha Yearwood. The Police, Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band, number 11. Number 12 is Taylor Swift. The Rolling Stones again at 13. Yeah, that's crazy. It just keeps going from there. I could have swore Dave Matthews Band was on there. Apparently not.
I love that list is all shit I don't care about.
Right?
Like, that kind of goes back to your point about, like,
I know.
it doesn't matter. If it's not for you, then cool. But it's
No.
for a fuckload of other people.
So the highest grossing tours by decade. So for the 80s, the top was Pink Floyd, and the second was Michael Jackson. That's kind of interesting.
Yeah. What about for the 90s?
So for the 90s... For the 90s, the Rolling Stones is number 1 and number 2. Pink Floyd number 3. U2 4. Michael Jackson 5. Wow. For the 2000s, the Rolling Stones again.
Okay, Jesus
That's
Christ.
insane, by the way.
Don't. What the
AC/DC
fuck?
second.
Why?
Think of the Stones, dude. Like, they've been around for fucking 70 goddamn years. Wait, how long have they been around? Wait a second. I'm kind of freaking out right now. How long have they been around? They started...
the 60s?
62!
Yeah.
Wait,
Christ.
what are we saying? What does that mean? Mick Jagger was born in 1943. He's 75 years old. Imagine all the... Okay, you've been on tour.
Mm-hmm.
You've played shows, right, Alan?
Yeah.
You've recorded records, right?
Yep.
Imagine doing that since the 60s.
Yeah, I mean, that's...
Think of all that they've seen. And at that level, too. That's the other important factor here. They've met the Beatles, Elvis, like Muddy Waters, and all like... What?
Yeah, they've been doing it through, like, generations of
Right.
music changes and...
The 60s. That's a distinct time, right? You know what that looks like, don't you? The 60s?
Yeah.
How about the 70s? You know what that looks like?
Yep.
Yeah, me too. What about the 80s? You got that vibe?
It starts
Yeah, they
getting
were there.
wildly different. Yeah.
90s. Oh, yeah. They were through that.
Oh, and meanwhile, you're getting way older.
Oh, my God.
And, like,
it really-
technology is changing. And you're
my
just
mind.
like... You're just like, what the fuck?
And it's pretty much the same band, too. That's the other crazy thing about that band.
Have you seen John Mulaney's bit about when he was a writer on SNL and Mick Jagger came to
Yeah.
host? Oh, God, it's so
And
good.
he's kind of a dick.
Yeah.
Clearly.
He has that bit about like Mick Jagger just has a level of confidence that
Oh yeah.
that John Mulaney wishes he has, where he's sitting at the writers' table and they're like pitching him shit, and they'll give him one that he doesn't like, and he's like, no. And then they give him one that he likes, and he's like, yes. And he's like, that's so legit, because John Mulaney's like, I'm at a point where I'm like, oh, do you have a MacBook charger I could borrow? No? Okay. Like, he can't even like ask to, it's just so fucking good. But I mean, that might be a huge reason why Rolling Stones is so successful. They just walk into a room and go, no.
Yes. Yeah, at least they're clear about what they want.
Yep.
And how about Keith Richards, man? Not compromising for shit. That guy still smokes a pack a day.
Just opens up his fucking sarcophagus and says, let's roll.
Let's roll.
Fucking 70 years of heroin. I feel great.
This is all random anyway.
Heroin just hits his veins and acts like a multivitamin.
Dude, it's crazy, man.
It's unfair.
It is unfair. It is unfair, but you know, to be fair, that's 1 in a million that people can do what he does.
Yeah, true. Well, and the thing is, you know, for the 1,000 years that they've been alive, they've fucking experienced some bullshit too.
Oh yeah, fuck yeah, they have, man.
No one's alive that long, and just it's all roses.
Dude, if you want to watch a really good music documentary, and this is for the audience listening as well, check out the Eagles documentary. I think it might still be on Netflix. But even if you're not a fan of the Eagles, that doesn't matter. It's fucking fascinating, man. Because it's kind of the same thing. Like, these guys just went through the ringer together.
There's a lot of documentaries like that they come out, they're about a band I don't care about, but the standard of documentary is so huge now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's so high that it's going to be good.
Yeah, it's
is the Eagles one you're referring to, is that the Hotel California one?
It might be called that. Yeah, I don't remember.
I'm pretty sure, because I wanted to see it.
That sounds right.
Yeah.
It's totally worth watching.
That's awesome.
Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers one is really fascinating as well.
That's what I've heard. I've heard that the Bob Marley one is fantastic.
Yep.
And then the Pearl Jam one.
Really good.
Yeah.
Judd Apatow did that.
Oh, really?
Or no, I'm sorry. Not
Oh,
Judd.
you're thinking the Avett Brothers one.
Well, that's right. That's the one he did. But Cameron Crowe did Pearl Jam, I believe.
Damn, that's sick. You know what I've been obsessed with lately is, you might like them too, are these, I think it's the Hollywood Reporter does these roundtables. And there's one that I watched that had like Ricky Gervais, Don Cheadle.
Yep, I know exactly what you mean.
Tom, what is it, Middleston or some shit? Mm-hmm. What, the dude from Silicon Valley. Anyway, so good. So good.
Yeah,
and
I love
then
that stuff.
I started watching other ones too. One has like Michael Caine and
right.
Like Will Smith
I'll
is in one.
do it.
I'll do it.
Michael Caine, bow.
So good.
Yeah.
Master Bros.
Master Bros.
It's where I love doing English accents, but some words it's hard. I'm not good at it. Like I'm not a master to where I can do any, like Master Bruce should be easy. There's a lot of R's and shit, but
well, he also doesn't even have an English. It's like its own thing.
Well, he says that it's like Cockney, which is actually more fun to do. You just like
Cognate, it's like that.
You separate your teeth less, like almost
it's
like
probably my least favorite accent.
Oh, dude, it's fucking horrendous, dude.
Crazy.
It's absolutely disgusting.
I remember getting off the train in Edinburgh, Scotland, and literally the first man we talked to. I'm being honest with you. I'm looking at you right now.
Yeah.
I couldn't understand a fucking word he said.
Dude, yeah, it gets so mushy.
It was the and my heart like stopped because I remember we were so excited to be there. I was 18 years old. I was a fucking young pup, and I was like nervous, you know, feeling a little homesick, right? I'm a little fucking kid, and I just wanted to know where we were going.
Yeah.
And I remember feeling so nervous that we were going to be in a part of the world that spoke English, and I wouldn't be able to understand what he said. Or that anyone said. And turns out he was like the extreme.
Yeah. That's the thing. There's different thicknesses.
Oh, yeah.
I remember even when I was in Vegas recently for the McGregor fight, my buddy Chris and we get off the plane. It took us like 4 hours to hear an American accent in Las Vegas because it was just full of, everywhere we walked, we would just hear, hi, tai.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, what the fuck? And then another person who looks super American, hi, tai.
You know what I love about the Irish accent is that it's so stereotypically Irish sounding.
Yes, yeah.
It's like No, really? This
Yeah.
is real?
So insane.
We actually had a guy at the airport parking lot. He was like the parking attendant dude, helping us find my aunt's car because my aunt and cousins lived in Dublin for a while, or right outside. And so we went to visit our family. And the first thing this guy said to us, I shit you not, was top of the morning.
Oh, Jesus.
And just about lost my mind.
yeah.
but
That's
my
cartoon
aunt-
shit.
Yeah, and my aunt pointed out that was like super rare. That was like one of the first times she'd ever heard that when she was living there.
Fuck.
Crazy, man. Yeah, and even in Ireland, which is a tiny country, the dialects are so vastly different.
Mhm.
Like really, really different. There's a posh Irish accent that's
Oh.
like the city, like Dublin. Dublin is very posh. Conor McGregor has like a blue collar Dublin accent,
Okay, right. Yeah.
and he's quicker too. They talk faster,
Oh, okay.
like East Coast West Coast thing.
yeah.
Then there's the country. That's, like the typical, the typical like
Yeah.
fucking leprechaun shit.
Right. Yeah.
What's the other one? Oh, well, and then there's parts, there's and then there's Belfast up in Northern Ireland.
Mm-hmm.
That's, I wouldn't even know how to describe that. Like all of the syllables are it's not Belfast. It's like Belfast.
Oh,
It's the
whoa.
weirdest fucking bizarre.
See, I don't give a shit about like
That one's harder to even hear.
I don't care about history or even just like the social studies of, but if you like, I could hear about like languages and dialects and shit all day.
Me too.
Like that's
I'm fascinated by it.
Fred Armisen has this.
It's the best.
He does the bit on just in the U.S.
Josh, not to interrupt you, Josh Northcutt and I
Yeah.
saw that at that drum shop. What's it called?
Oh,
Revival.
Revival. Yeah, I follow them on Instagram.
So Fred Armisen did that show before filming that on Netflix.
Oh, dude,
he
I'm
did
so
that show.
jealous.
I had no idea what it was. Josh didn't even know what it was. He called me. He's like, "Hey, my buddy who runs Revival gave me these tickets to this thing. Apparently, Fred Armisen, the guy from Portland." I'm like, "Yeah, of course." It's like apparently he's doing like a stand-up thing, but it's like based around drumming and drummers.
Dude,
it's like, what?
When I first heard about that, I'm like, "There's no
Dude,
way."
We sat in a room, maybe like twice as big as this room, so it's still a small room, and it was Fred Armisen with maybe 30 people,
Dude.
and he put on an hour and a half show that was like comedy special level. We were fucking dying, man. It was so good.
That's
But anyway,
incredible.
and he did that whole bit.
That's so sick. Yeah, when I heard that he had a special, it's called like comedy for drummers or whatever. I'm like, you have to be fucking kidding me.
So spot on.
Netflix is not gonna let you do that. That's so
So specific.
It's the most niche thing I've ever heard in my life. And then he does.
like 2% of the.
It's so niche that like I couldn't. I mean, yeah, he's on point with a lot of it. He's got that
I
stupid,
know.
silly fucking bit about like every time you take the top of your your cymbal
the donut
lock,
thing
whatever,
comes
like
off.
it fucking falls off and you got to look for it. Yes, okay, you're right. However, I can't laugh because I'm too busy looking around
I'm
it.
too busy actually trying to find the thing you just joked about.
Yeah, or like everybody's reaction to it, and some people,
So good.
even other drummers, didn't understand it too. It's just
That's what I love about his comedy.
mm-hmm.
He goes
He doesn't
so
give a fuck.
deep into the bit. Like if you come up with the idea for a bit, he goes like 5 layers deeper than that.
He previews that shit on Conan, and the very first joke bombs.
I remember.
And he has to close that joke with, "That was joke one."
That was joke
He has to
one.
let the audience know.
I love the whole thing about like trying out cymbals
Yeah,
at stores. The ting 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 ting. Like, and that's the joke. I
That's
just
the
did the joke.
punchline.
That's it.
that drummers do this.
It's just so funny and specific. And we all know it's so dumb.
Yeah,
Like
because
trying out cymbals.
it's a series of things that we've thought or experienced and never shared with non-drummers. And
Yep.
Fred Armisen was like, "Not only will I do that, I'll make a special out of it."
And by the way, he's like a legit drummer.
Yeah,
He played in the Blue Man Group for a while.
very solid. Yeah.
But yeah, I love that bit where he does all the accents around the country.
Yeah, it's so good because I'm like, how there's got to be what 10, and he does like 50.
50?
He'll
And it's
find
all real.
yeah, and differences between. Yeah, it's weird, man.
Dude, I mean, I am endlessly fascinating with linguistics and accents. And like, even in ways that most people don't think about. Like, for example, the state of California has so many different accents that a lot of people don't pick up on it. There's a ton of them. There's the typical Orange County bro thing. Mm-hmm. There's the kind of like Hispanic, like cholo thing.
Oh, right.
That even white guys do.
Yeah.
There's a California accent that almost sounds Midwest. Kevin Costner has it. Ron Howard has it.
Okay.
It's like Ron Howard. It's like that. Like Ben Shapiro has it. Where it's kind of like, it sounds like Chicago almost.
Yeah.
But for some reason, LA County has this weird white
wild.
guy voice. The other thing that I love, I think David Cross, is that his name, David Cross?
Yeah.
Yeah. He does a similar bit to what I'm talking about. But if you really notice, there is a redneck, like hick accent in every state of the U.S. It's not just the South.
Oh, yeah. I think I heard this.
There is, and this for sure. And now that I'm pointing out, you might start noticing it more.
Yeah.
There is an Oregon thing. There's a hick Oregon accent that, like, for example, they'll say, like I work in construction. I hear these guys talk all the time.
Yeah, it's probably all around you.
It's not fishing. It's fishing. I'll go elk hunting.
Yeah.
And it's like loose with the tongue, and I'm doing a terrible version of it, but you know what I mean.
Dude, I love hick
definitely
accents.
hick
I like
accent.
the ones that it's not really around here so much, but maybe it's Texas where they're explaining shit, and then they say, instead of like that, they will say like at, but
Like
then
at?
they do it quick enough to be like, I was fishing and I was hunting like that, and it's just
Like
it
that.
like glues together like
That's
one
right.
word,
Yeah.
like at.
Yeah, the South is an endlessly fascinating part of the world to me.
God, it is.
It's very foreign to me
Yeah.
because I have not really been there all that much. Been
Yeah.
to Texas, been to Tennessee.
I would love to be able to
Kentucky.
fucking. One of the only things I don't like about this area, no Southern belles.
Yeah, there's none of that, is there?
Because I mean,
Well, I'm just a Southern belle.
like men in that area, no, thank you. They're fucking obnoxious and like,
Right.
They've got this like fake alpha thing and
Good old boy thing.
yeah, like oh fuck you, I'm gonna wrestle you. I'm good, dude.
Yeah.
But the women,
The Georgia Peach.
yeah, all day.
Oh, darling, aren't you just a darling? Aren't you just so sweet?
Yeah.
Yeah, I want that.
That's
that
the
sounds
dream.
so nice.
But they're not around here.
No, they're not.
Instead, they got straight bangs and piercings and
Straight bangs. What is with that?
I don't know. They've got that fucking Lloyd Christmas.
A fucking pumpkin pie haircut.
I'm good, dude.
Dude, have you ever been out to like, because for those that don't know, most of Oregon is not Portland. Most of Oregon is what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Most of Oregon are ranchers. It's the desert. It's fucking Trump country. It gets like red state in a second outside of Portland.
Oh, hell yeah.
In any direction.
Absolutely.
You drive 30 minutes in any direction, you're not in Portland anymore.
No, dude, if you go to like Eastern Oregon,
Oh my God.
it just turns into desert and shit.
Have you
It's
ever
wild.
been to Maupin County? Maupin?
Dude, yeah, we were just talking about that because I know somebody whose parents had land out there and they just,
Oh, dude. That's so funny.
yeah, it's fucking gorgeous out there.
Oh, it's gorgeous, but it is a whole different world. I mean, it couldn't be more different than where we live.
Yeah.
That's what I love about America is like that just in our state alone. I mean, you might as well be from a different country.
Yeah.
It is completely different.
That's what's so cool. I try to tell people like Pacific Northwest is perfect because if I want to go to Canada, not too far away, I got the beach, I got desert,
Mountains.
I got fucking trees and mountains galore, whatever I want.
I know.
Camping, cool. Surfing, got that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just snowboarding.
You can either get
cool.
all liberal urban or you can get shooting guns conservative.
Yeah.
Whatever your thing. It's here.
We got farmers that drive Priuses.
I know. Yeah.
You know?
You get those guys. Yeah,
Yeah.
It's a crazy state for sure.
It is. It's just. It's almost like. It's almost eclectic to a fault.
Yeah.
Like I don't know what that fault would be necessarily, but it is such a melting pot.
Well, I went on my brother-in-law's a bachelor party. That's what we call it. And we went whitewater rafting and camping out in Maupin County. And my brother-in-law is like a hunter, fisherman, outdoorsy kind of good old boy. And so that was like his idea of a good time. And we went whitewater rafting, and the two guys that were our instructors, they grew up out there in Maupin. And one of them, you know, he was talking about how he's a teacher in the desert of California. So he goes out to like Coachella Valley to teach. And then when he comes home to Maupin County. And I was fascinated that this guy exists in this world where he refers to home as Oregon, but he's been to Portland one time. He's nearly 40 years old. He's only been to Portland, Oregon one time. So his idea of Oregon is like ranch country, open, where like Indians live. There's a reservation out there.
Yeah, like Montana shit.
Montana, red rocks and the Deschutes River and ranchers. He wears a cowboy hat. He's a cowboy. He is an actual cowboy. He rides horses and like fixes fences and shoots guns and carries a gun and shoots cougars and what? And is a fucking white water rafting cowboy guy when he's home not teaching. You know, it's, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it blows my mind.
You can do that out here. I went rafting with some friends, and our guide, I'll never forget, his name was Bibbs. And I asked him how he got that name, and he said because when he was like new with the company and with all the other guides, they were eating and he spilled some food on his shirt. So they were like, "All right, you need a bib, you a baby, whatever." So they started calling him Bibbs. And I remember I started roasting him, you know, because I was scared about rafting, so I got fucking almost blackout drunk, and I just started getting mischievous, and I started making fun of him. He was in the back of the raft, and he took the paddle and he like threw water, like splashed me and shit. I mean, you know, that's the end of the story, but he was a cool guy. He had like a lisp that I fucking loved. So I actually wanted him to talk all the time because it was kind of an adorable lisp.
Bibbs.
All right, it's gonna be some water over here. It's gonna be on the path to your right. I'd be like, what was that? Like I would make him repeat shit.
What was that, Bibbs? I can't hear you.
Say that again.
Well, speaking of people with funny fucking voices and accents, it always blows my mind that some of these people get professional jobs talking.
Mm-hmm.
Like Baba Walpus.
Yep.
Hi, I'm Baba Walpa.
So crazy.
Or what's the other fucking guy? Was it Tom Brokaw?
Oh,
and he sounds like drunk. I can't do the accent.
There's somebody else now. You saying Tom Brokaw had me thinking of somebody, but now, yeah, you've got me wanting to think of examples. I feel like there's some fucking obvious ones too.
It's like a speech impediment.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's what it is. With speech impediment.
I mean, shit, even Mike Tyson. Think about that.
I know.
This big dude that could fucking just had 2 pistons for arms. He'd just fuck you up, but if you got in an argument with him and like punching wasn't allowed, it was so easy to win because he just had this weird, like helium voice, and I think he kind of had a lisp too.
Bottom line is, take charge of your case.
Strike charge of her crap.
Try not to do the little whiny. It's reserved for the big stuff.
What do you mean by that, the whininess?
Well, what I mean by the whininess is that if you go in and just say, "Well, I heard from somebody today," or "I saw this," and you're not doing that to me, you know, what's that all about?
Yeah, I think it was worse when he was younger, maybe.
It just sounds like he's shitting his pants as he talks.
Yeah, it's just like holding on to his dick and shitting.
What about Harry Carey?
Harry Carey, that's a good example. Barbara Walters is real intense, though. Like super, super intense. I don't know how these people get jobs talking. All right, let's wrap this thing up. Let's do a movie pick real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have that up there?
I got that trailer.
Yeah. All right. So my movie pick for the week since it is still Christmas time, by the way, this is the week before Christmas. So today is Wednesday. Christmas is this coming Tuesday. So Merry Christmas to everyone out there, because we won't be back until after Christmas. But I figured I'd do one more Christmas movie as my pick of the week. This is a movie we watched last night and was pleasantly surprised. It's funny, and it's a horror Christmas movie, which is always fun to flip it on its head and try something new. If you want to try a different style of Christmas movie, I highly recommend this one.
I didn't even put two and two together on the Better Watch Out. I was like, oh, it's a horror. I didn't even think about...
horror movie is a loose term. It's not all that scary.
Okay.
It's funny. It's like Shaun of the Dead. It's like a comedy horror.
Oh, shit. Okay. Well,
So
I'm
these-
interested now.
Yeah. So it's basically, it's kind of like what we were talking about earlier, where little kids start murdering people.
Oh, fuck yeah. All
I
right.
think it's even the same age. I think he's 12 or something like that in the movie.
Perf.
Want to put her in the mood? Watch a horror movie.
Dude, she's like twice our age. I really don't think it's gonna happen.
She's here.
You are breathtaking.
Thank you. Now don't stay up and watch scary movies, okay? It'll give you nightmares again.
So what do you want to do?
Ricky, why can't you just leave me alone?
He's such a jerk.
Don't hang up on me.
What was that? Oh my god.
Get away from the window.
There's someone there.
Ashley! Are you hiding? I'll find you.
Don't worry, I'll protect you. This is exciting.
What are you doing, man? Please let me out of this.
You're home alone again? That's awesome! Deck the halls with balls of Why can't exes just go away? Good night.
Yep. There it is.
That looks wild.
Oh, God, since this reminded me, this is a good honorable mention as well. Pull up a trailer for a movie called Anna and the Apocalypse. This is a movie that I was following, like the release of it. It's actually an indie movie that came out last year. Same vein, horror comedy Christmas movie, but it's a musical. And it's like a zombie movie based in Christmas in the UK.
Okay.
Really fucking funny. And it got a second wave this year and now is doing really well. And it was released in theaters.
And all through the house. Not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse.
It's really good. In fact,
Young
this
Anna
movie's
was
better,
nestled,
I would say.
all snug in her bed, not knowing tomorrow she'd meet the undead.
Like a
How would she
90-something%
survive
on Rotten
what
Tomatoes.
this season would bring? Well, that's simple. She'd stab,
looks sick.
she'd slash, and she'd sing.
Shaun of the Dead meets La La Land. That's the perfect description.
Oh no.
What?
Justin Bieber's a zombie.
Damn.
Yeah,
I like a creative kill.
me too, man.
That's
Me
sick.
too.
it blows my mind that the zombie thing is still a thing.
Yeah.
Not because I don't like it, but because things typically, trends turn over very fast.
Right.
Zombies are still hot.
Yeah, they are. You know what lost me, though, is Walking Dead. Man, I was so into that show when it first came out.
I bailed on it, I think, at the end of season 6. And not because it wasn't good. I don't know. Maybe I lost interest, but it did get a little overwhelming. I think I fell behind enough to where I was like, I can't catch up.
I think that's probably where I'm at, too. It's probably not that I stopped liking it. I think I just got so far behind that there's not enough pull for me to get back into it.
Yeah, I quit right before.
I'm sure I'll like it if I am watching it, you know.
I quit right before the King Ezekiel shit, which looks cool. It's a dude with like a pet tiger, and he I don't know. And I had no problem with the last season that I watched. It was awesome.
Yeah.
I definitely got annoyed with Carl. I wanted Carl to die so bad.
Oh, just a slow and painful death.
Yeah.
That little fuck.
I couldn't handle it. And just his face.
His hair.
Yeah, the weird like Justin Bieber thing. And
not good.
Nope.
No. Are you a Game of Thrones fan?
I gave it a shot when it was a thing initially, and I just felt like the first couple episodes that I watched, they were just like, we're going to introduce you to every character, and it's going to kind of suck, but it just felt too homeworky in the beginning.
I felt too.
So I never got into it. I literally, to this day, I've seen like 2, maybe 3 episodes.
I've actually seen more than that. I don't know how much more, but the thing for me is I liked it in real time while I was watching it, but not loved it. I liked it, but I never remembered a goddamn thing I saw after it. Like, I never knew who anyone was, who was tied to who betrayed who. It was too like soap opera for me. I have a tough time with that vibe, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, it's on the list of shows that I wish I was into. Same with Mad Men. I loved Mad Men. Mad Men seems so overwhelming to me that I just can't. I don't want to dive in. I feel like every end is the deep end, and I'm just like, I'm good.
Yeah.
But I'm really weird about what shows will pull me in. Like Breaking Bad, saw every episode. Dexter, saw every episode.
Good. We just rewatched Dexter recently, and I forgot how good it really was.
Yeah. Does it seem campy now? Like old?
No, I would say the campiness is actually still good for me because I like campy things.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess there is a few things that are a little dated. I would say more of like the references and technology kind of thing. But
I mean, something so stupid about me is that I can't, like, season 1 of True Detective has been at the top of my list since it was a thing.
Yeah,
and I can't get myself just to watch the first fucking episode, hurry up and get hooked, because all I hear is that it's the shit.
The first season is the shit.
And from what I've heard about it, yeah, it's very clear to me to ignore the second season, which is easy to do because it's not even the same people, and cool. So it's its own thing. I'm going to, yeah. It sounds rad. I can't do it. Meanwhile, I'm on like my 37th watch through The Office.
I know. Well, you know, I mean, that speaks to like the human, experience. Like you want to feel familiar.
Yeah, why try that new restaurant?
Yeah, macaroni and cheese is something
in the hip part of town. Like, I'm just going to go to that sports bar that I've been going to since I was 21.
And The Office is the perfect example of like everything you want after a hard day's work, right? You don't want to be challenged, not too much. You just want to kind of check out, have some good laughs, go to bed.
Right. Well, and at the risk of sounding mentally ill, like I feel like they're my friends, like I fucking know them so well that it's like now Michael Scott's voice is so comforting.
Yep.
And hearing Phyllis and Creed being fucking weird. Like I just know them all so well. And also that show, the writing is fucking fantastic. So I just, good. Every time I watch through, I typically skip out on like the same sections every time. But even with that being said, I'm noticing new things every watch through, and it's weird. I don't know why I do that.
I know. My problem now is that I'm not even watching anything. I'm only watching movies, and then when I'm not watching movies, which is usually with Ashley, I am watching like YouTube stuff. Not vloggers, not Logan Paul, but like tons of podcasts. I like watching podcasts. And I think most of it is because people like me and you are busy, and we both have multiple jobs, and so I always need to have my laptop with me and doing something. That's why playing video games for a long period of time is really hard for me.
Yeah.
I need to have my hands available so I can do stuff. And yeah, so anyway, that doesn't excuse why I can't watch a show. I don't know. I don't know what it is. I'm like losing my am I losing my attention span? Is that what it is?
I mean, to a degree, yeah, because I'm sitting here with a guarantee that there's a really good show out
For
there,
sure.
and then I'm just like, yeah, but I'm gonna watch that shit that I've already seen.
Ashley's been watching the show that I know I would like, but I know that I probably would never start it by myself. I think it's called Mindhunter.
Oh, right.
Right?
Yeah, I've heard decent
Netflix
shit about
show.
that.
It's David Finch did it.
Oh wait, you know what? I started it.
Or David Fincher.
Are there multiple seasons?
Maybe. I think so.
Because if there are, then I'm pretty sure I smashed through all of season 1, and it was fantastic.
It's like 60s FBI guys.
Yep. And I want to say that even towards the end of season 1, they start setting up this serial killer dude. The two main characters need to speak to this serial killer, and you can just tell he's going to be a fucking rad character. But they start showing him towards the end of season 1, I believe, and then he gets pulled into season 2. So I was even motivated to continue the show, and I didn't.
I didn't know Charlize Theron was in it.
Oh, I don't remember that at all.
No.
If she's in it, she's forgettable.
Oh,
I just have a horrible memory.
It says it's directed by her and David Fincher.
Oh, damn.
She was a part of like the production of it.
Shit. Have you watched, speaking of movies, have you watched Mid-90s yet?
Fuck yeah, dude. That was one of my movie picks. Fuck yeah, it's good.
Wait, did we already talk about this?
It is so good.
How like the nostalgia aspect is a little bit depressing too?
Yeah, maybe that was Jesse Cannon. No, that was a different guest I had right before you came on the show.
Oh, you know what? I'm thinking of my buddy Ryan, and I went to a show, and like there was like a changeover, so that came up because I think we were talking about Trent Reznor because he did the music for that show, right? Or that
he did
movie?
it for free too.
Fuck.
For Jonah Hill. Yeah,
What the
that's
shit?
how much you
That's
like the
insane.
movie. Is the nostalgia tough? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, well, I just feel like for me, the concept of nostalgia in general is it's a depressing feeling. Like a good but depressing feeling.
I would say that like I happy cried during the movie.
Oh, okay.
I remember turning to Ashley and I said something because like that is my childhood for sure.
Yeah.
And a lot of yours too. Like skateboarding and being with your buddies and that time of life where you find those friends, and you feel like you can finally be your own person. You find your tribe. You find something you love, which was skating and music for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, Jonah Hill nails the details in a way that's really hard to explain. Like all the skate companies, all the shirts the kids are wearing, like chocolate skateboard, girl, toy machine, World Industries, and the references to the music of the time, like even the way the Coke cans looked back then, the Doritos bag.
Dude.
The details are so good.
See, that sounds like it'll fuck me up.
And the actors are fucking phenomenal.
Ugh.
And he went and found
So
these
cool.
kids who not only can act, but one of them is an actual professional skater.
God.
Yeah.
It's crazy how big skateboarding was because I never fucking did it, and yet
It's
I
part
can
of the
name
culture you're in, yeah.
Yeah, I can name like World Industries was the shit, Independent. Like I had nothing to do with that.
Right.
And I can talk about all of it. I always, every time some dude was wearing a girl sweatshirt, I was like, that's such a cool logo, and I like that concept. And
I had a girl hoodie, girl skateboard. My first skateboard was a girl board.
And then Blind, remember Blind?
Fuck yeah.
That was a whole thing. Tony
yeah,
Hawk,
like
fucking
411 skate videos of that time. God. So that's that movie. It's not a sad movie though. I mean, it is, but it's more good feeling than sad.
Yeah,
I mean,
okay.
It's directed by Jonah Hill, so it's so funny. It's all funny and feel good. Yeah, I mean, it's ultimately a good feeling movie.
Yeah, I'm such a Jonah Hill fan. I'd love for him to write
me too,
more.
man.
I like him as an actor
too.
too, but I think he's fucking crazy smart.
If he keeps making movies like mid-90s, I'm on board, man. It's
Hopefully
so
this
good.
is like his Get Out, where like he does it and then people are like, oh shit, you can do this.
Yeah.
And then he just does it. Speaking of which, the new Jordan Peele movie,
Oh, I know. I can't wait.
I believe, like, just in general, we know next to nothing about it, right? Just that poster.
Just the poster.
I want to know what's up. Everyone's fucking.
Dude,
think
imagine
about that.
trying to live up to Get Out.
Ugh, yeah.
You're the guy that came out of fucking nowhere from that goofy comedy show, and you went and you made Get Out.
Well, it's similar to how they say a band's sophomore album is the most challenging because there's no pressure, or at least very little pressure on that first one.
Right.
Like
Everyone's just hoping for the best.
Slipknot releases the self-titled, and it's like, whoa, these guys came out of nowhere.
Yep.
We have no expectation, and it's the shit. But then Iowa, everyone's like, hey, your first one was the shit. What's up?
Yep.
And it needs to be good or nobody cares.
Everyone's watching now.
But if you have two bangers right out of the gate, 1 and 2, then you kind of get some leeway for the rest of your career.
Yeah.
To a degree.
Absolutely.
But I mean, fuck, dude, I'm interested. People are like, that's got to be a sick feeling for Jordan that like he can release a poster, and there are people on Reddit that are dissecting the poster.
I know.
They're like, those scissors are they devil horns? Do you think this is a demonic thing?
Yeah.
What? That's crazy. That's a high level of interest.
Fuck yeah, dude. Yeah, I mean, it's gonna smash at the box office for sure.
I mean, I'm super intrigued. I also love that that's kind of a new thing. Just to, I mean, at least in that space, I feel like it's new to release a poster. There's no trailer or anything. Like, you can just release a poster and get people pumped for the trailer. Typically, the trailer is the thing that gets them pumped for the movie. And he's got people pumped for the thing that's supposed to get you pumped.
I know.
Like, that's this.
I know.
Other layer.
I mean, like Star Wars is the only shit that can do that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is like he's not even. God damn, he's done one movie.
I know.
And he's already.
So cool.
But that one movie was that good.
Yep. Well, let's wrap this bitch up. We've been going way long, which is good. Nice little closeout for the Christmas break.
Yep.
We're most likely not going to put out a show next week. This show we're doing right now will be up for your Christmas week. We wish everyone a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year and all that stuff. But we'll be back for the New Year, right? So,
oh, yeah.
Tuesday is Christmas. Yeah. But, yeah, if we don't talk to you before, have a fantastic holiday. Relax, you know?
Yeah. Do your thing. Just chill.
Do your thing. Smoke crystal meth. Rip out your eyes.
Rip your eyes out.
Name your daughter Kaylee. Kaylee.
Ugh.
Of course her name is Kaylee.
Make sure she's got a long-ass ponytail and likes horses.
And those bangs.
Yeah.
And likes horses.
Yep. Kaylee's always like horses. They got like a fucking horse calendar.
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of here.
Have you watched any Christmas movies yet?
No, but I watch Christmas Vacation every goddamn year.
Yep. We're going to watch that soon. We haven't watched it yet.
That's my movie. That's in my top 10 all time.
So good. Me too. For sure. We just watched Elf recently. Also a good one.
Yeah, that's one that I don't want to admit is a classic just because it's so new, but it is.
But it is.
I might fuck with Jingle All the Way.
There you go.
I like that one a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot of good ones, man. There's a lot of bad ones, but there's a lot of good ones too.
Just listening to Arnold Schwarzenegger say Turbo Man is hilarious.
Yeah. If you want to watch a darker, funny one, Krampus.
Oh, yeah. I've heard of that.
Like the guy from Parks and Rec. I forget his fucking name. He plays, anyway, that guy.
Talking to a girl on Hinge right now that she likes horror movies, of course. And she has the bangs, of course. And she, same name as my ex-girlfriend, too. So I've just got fucking red flags left and right, still talking to her. And she said specifically, though, she likes Christmas horror.
That's
and I'm
a thing now, man.
I was like, how? That's niche-y. Like,
super
how many
niche-y.
movies are there? I looked it up. There's a billion.
There's a ton.
And the Krampus one is like, that's one of the top.
Yeah.
And then there's Silent Deadly Night or whatever.
That's a new one, yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah, there's one called Rare Exports. That's, I think it's Finnish or Norwegian movie that is basically anti-Santa Claus. It's like Krampus, this like demon-y guy that like if you're a bad kid, instead of getting coal, he like kills kids and kidnaps them.
Jesus
And there's like
Christ.
these fucking zombie elf things that run around, but it's actually done really well and sweet and funny and Christmassy.
See, they're doing it
also
smart.
super dark.
You show kids that, and then when you tell them Santa's not real, they're fucking relieved.
Fuck yeah, dude.
That's the move.
Yeah, Krampus is no joke.
Krampus
it's like, do you
such
want
a shitty word.
Santa or Krampus? It's up to you.
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
The Krampus is like, that's I fucking hate that word.
It's a terrible name.
I heard that
sounds like cramps.
Yeah, I was just gonna say when women are on their period, they get really bad Krampus.
They get really bad Krampus. Well, Merry
we
Christmas.
We should end on that note right there.
Yeah, Merry Christmas and have a happy Krampus.
Yep.
You guys know what to do. Subscribe to the show. Share the show with your friends, will you? And something that we are trying to get out there as much as possible is this. If you are in a band or you run a small company or you just have a thing that you want the world to know about, why don't you consider sponsoring an episode of this delicious podcast? Contact Alan or me, and we would love to do that for you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's something we're really looking into now. That'd be a really good way to support the show and benefit your thing as well. If you are trying to support some Nazi KKK thing, then we're probably not going to promote it.
Yeah.
You know.
At least not a lot. We'll do like just one plug. I'll plug a little bit of that.
Give me a couple bucks. I'll do anything for you. All right. Let's wrap this thing up. Yeah. Really, though, enjoy your time off, guys. Everyone works hard. This is the best time of year. Relax. We're almost there. And we'll see you back after the holidays.
See you soon.
Bye.